Before you buy an annuity, or worse yet, a variable life insurance policy, give us a chance to tell you both sides of the story.
Financial strategies, what's the way to build your wealth?
Go to financialstrategiesinc.com.
The highly successful Mineshaft restaurant in Hartford is hiring an experienced bar manager with income upwards of $60,000 a year with tips and always busy. Nights, weekends, and holidays, but the schedule has flexibility. Tell your kids. Inquire today, start next week.
The place you want to go, Lynch McWanago.
Nobody sells for less than Lynch.
Your locally owned hometown station gives you the news and what it means to you. Wisconsin's radio station, News Radio 620, WTMJ, Milwaukee.
At 12 noon, 48 degrees, the high today, 54 from the WTMJ Breaking News Center. I'm Eric Bilstead. Things are starting to smooth out a bit across the country. More than 2,000 Southwest Airlines flights were delayed today after a computer glitch this morning, halting all takeoffs.
Less than 4 months after Southwest Airlines saw its operations crumble around Christmas due to computer issues on Tuesday morning, another computer problem kept Southwest planes on the ground. This time, the airline is blaming a firewall failure from a third-party vendor that caused data connection issues. While many Southwest flights have been delayed, relatively few have been canceled, and the airline says it's working to make sure its flights go out today. Alex Stone, ABC News.
The arrival and the departure board's looking pretty good at the moment at Milwaukee Mitchell. At City Hall,
15 members present. I've been waiting a long time to say that.
Common Council President Perez celebrating a full house. All aldermanic districts now filled after 3 council members were sworn in today. It's the first time in 2 years they've had all aldermanic districts filled. Tragedy on Marquette's campus. A Marquette University student passing away overnight in their dorm.
According to the Marquette University Police Department and a report by the Marquette Wire, officers arrived at the Cobian Residence Hall near 11th and Wisconsin around 9:30 Monday night. After arriving, police attempted life-saving efforts on the student before that student was pronounced dead on the scene. Police tell the Wire there were no signs of trauma to the student, and the student is yet to be identified, but an autopsy is expected in the coming days. Finn Askin, WTMJ News.
The Dominion voting system lawsuit against Fox News is set to begin in a courtroom in Delaware.
Just moments ago, 6 men and 6 women were seated for that jury. So we're expecting opening statements to begin very soon. Dominion is expected to go first, lay out their case, present a roadmap to the jurors, explaining to them exactly what the allegations are and how they plan to prove it with evidence that they have.
ABC's Faith Abube, Dominion alleging defamation by the news network. It says deliberately amplified false claims that its voting machines were rigged in the 2020 presidential election. Back here at home, professional bowlers have been competing at Bolero Wauwatosa this month, including one of the very best bowlers in the world.
Yeah, I'll be competing for the World Championship starting on Thursday. If Thursday is a great day, then you'll see me bowling for the title.
39-year-old Australian athlete Jason Belmonte, with his signature two-handed style, has a record 15 major titles on the Professional Bowlers Association Tour. Now he wants to win at the PBA World Series of Bowling happening in Wauwatosa. Belmonte kicked off the tournament, beating PBA Hall of Famer Tommy Jones in a special match at Holler House.
And you have to quickly switch out of that nostalgia feeling, looking at this place and how cool it is to, it's time to destroy the other guy.
Sandy Max, WTMJ News.
Sports, traffic, and weather next. Siding Unlimited, WTMJ News Time, 12:03.
This report is sponsored by the White Lace Inn, Door County. Perfect for a birthday or anniversary gift.
Hello, Dennis from White Lace Inn here in beautiful Door County. White Lace Inn has been providing gracious elegance, sincere hospitality, and relaxing getaways since 1982. Wander garden pathways that connect each of the 4 Victorian homes. 18 rooms and suites that make up White Lace Inn. White Lace Inn is just minutes away from restaurants, museums, shopping, hiking, bike trails, and all of Door County. When evening comes, return to White Lace Inn, relax in front of a romantic fireplace, and step into an inviting whirlpool bath for 2. Then climb into a luxurious bed for the night. The next morning, enjoy a delicious White Lace Inn breakfast, served with Door County coffee. White Lace Inn, consistently voted one of the most romantic inns of America. Whether it's a relaxing getaway, birthday, anniversary, honeymoon, or small destination wedding, amazing memories are waiting you at White Lace Inn. Open every night of the year. To find out more, take a tour at whitelaceinn.com. That's whitelacinn.com.
Visit family-owned Ken Michaels Furniture and our in-store design centers where you'll still find beautiful, luxurious, heirloom-quality American-made furniture. Right now, save 30 to 35% store-wide and take advantage of our complimentary design services. Whether you're moving, renovating, or updating, our designers will help your vision become a reality. Visit Ken Michaels Furniture in Brookfield on Capitol Drive and in Greenfield on Highway 100 to save 30 to 35% store-wide today. Stop into Ken Michaels Furniture for our sale on Bradington Young, made in the foothills of the Great Smoky Mountains. Bradington Young is an American icon in quality leather upholstery. Whether you're looking for power recliners or stationary seating, BY's Furniture is made with enduring quality, outstanding comfort, and timeless styling. Save 35% now on Bradington Young upholstery at Ken Michaels Furniture in Brookfield and Greenfield. Visit us today.
Bucks forward Giannis Antetokounmpo receives an MRI in his injured back. It's come back clean, according to Bucks head coach Mike Budenholzer. Still unclear if Giannis will play tomorrow night when the Bucks take on the Heat in Game 2 of their best-of-7 series. Our coverage gets underway at 7:30 on WTMJ. Brewers with a record of 12-5 take on the Seattle Mariners tonight. Seattle 8-9 after last night's loss. Brewers continue to win and win series. Colin Ray makes his second start of the season for Milwaukee this evening. Coverage of tonight's game gets underway at 8:05 on WTMJ. Greg Matzik, WTMJ Sports.
Checking your roads with your Johnson & Sons paving time saver traffic. 94 westbound, downtown through the zoo to Highway 16 is looking good getting out. Shouldn't have any issues there at 17 minutes. 4145 south, Highway Q to the zoo is on time. Looking fine at 15. 43 northbound, downtown up to Brown Deer Road. Typical trip up, it's in 12 minutes. And 94 to the south, also clear from the Marquette to Layton. Delay-free, 7 minutes.
Traffic is sponsored by Evans Transportation Services. Thank heavens for Evans. Rely on one company for accounting, shipping, and tracking. Evans Transportation Services. Family owned for 40 years and continuing to grow. Evans Transportation Services in Brookfield.
The WTMJ 5-day forecast. Sunny today, a high of 54. Tonight, clear sky, a low of 38. For Wednesday, cloudy. Chance for a shower or a storm tomorrow, a high of 52. For Thursday, showers and storms, possible anyway, a high of 65. Friday, partly cloudy, a high of 57. Saturday, another chance for a wintry mix and a high of 45 degrees. Right now in Milwaukee, it's 46. Green Bay's at 54. Waukesha, 45. And in Milwaukee, 47. I'm Eric Bilstead, Siding Unlimited, WTMJ News Time, 12:07.
Live from the Annex Wealth Management Studios at the Avenue, it's the Jeff Wagner Show. Come join the conversation on the Old National Bank talk and text line at 855-616-1620. Old National Bank. Get old. Now, here's WTMJ's Jeff Wagner.
Good afternoon, Wisconsin. Welcome to the show. Don't just listen. You can now also watch this program, The Jeff Wagner Show, and all of your favorite WTMJ shows. We are streaming live on video from our studios at the Avenue. You can watch online at WTMJ.com. You can watch on the mobile app. You can watch on the WTMJ YouTube page. Who knew? And on our social channels. Look while you listen with the WTMJ video stream. I checked in this morning because I was kind of curious how many people watched, and actually we had several hundred. Now, yesterday was the first day, at least, we live streamed my program, and we had several hundred, close to 500 people who watched it just on the YouTube channel alone. I expect it will grow from there. But again, if you've got that, you can listen live, and that's very, very cool. But if you're sitting at your desk, all sorts of ways that you can stream the program live as well. My lovely wife said, okay, does this change the way you do your show? And I said, well, no, not really. She said, well, yeah, you better recognize that you're on camera now, so well, what do you think I'm going to do? She said, you just got to be careful about that because you might go scratch your nose and somebody might interpret that as something different. So I said, okay, I'll try to be careful about that. But you can watch the shows on a daily basis as well, and we enjoy that quite a bit. Okay, we have a lot of very serious, what I would describe as weighty topics that we are going to discuss during the course of the program today. We start off with one that I found it to be incredibly interesting. I acknowledge at the outset, it is not the most significant topic of the day, but it struck me as an interesting topic because I suspect it's something that we're all going to have an opinion on. And my lead into this is, you know, when you go on Twitter or on social media and you're thinking about venting about something, it's always my advice that you want to perhaps just wait a couple seconds before you hit the send button. I had a professor in law school. His name was Jim Giardi, just a great, great man. And this is before, I was in law school, of course, before Al Gore invented the internet, before we had email and stuff. And back then you actually wrote letters to each other. And Jim's advice, and I remember getting this in class, and it always stayed with me, was there will be things that happen that to you as you're practicing law that you get angry about. And you know, what I recommend you do is you can write that letter to the other side, blasting them for whatever. And he said, my recommendation is, though, after you finish it and after you get it typed up, what you do is just take that letter and put it in your desk drawer overnight. And my guess is when you look at it again that next morning, you'll have rethought, you won't be quite as angry, you won't have that flash anger, and you'll have rethought at least some of the positions, which I think it always served me very well. Well, nowadays, you know, we don't write letters anymore. We just go on our emails and we go to Twitter or we go to Facebook or whatever, and we write whatever we're going to write on there, and then we just hit send, and then it is out there. And every once in a while, I think maybe you want to pause. So here is the story I want to discuss with you. There is a guy named Anthony Bass. He is a professional baseball player. He's a relief pitcher now for the Toronto Blue Jays. He's not having a particularly great year, but I don't think that necessarily informs his decision. So here's the story. His wife is 22 months pregnant. She's traveling on United Airlines the other day with their two other children. One is 5, one is 2. So it's the three of them. You have this 22 months, 22 months, that would be something. 22-week pregnant woman, and she's got the 2 kids. So they're on United Airlines. The flight attendant, apparently sometime during the flight, you know, they're passing out, you know, the sodas, and they come by with their, you know, pretzels or whatever. And the flight attendant, you know, at the request of the mom, gives the 2-year-old daughter some popcorn, right? So it's one of those little things of popcorn. And the 2-year-old apparently dumps the popcorn out all over the floor. So makes a mess. Now, it could have been a worse mess. It's not like she poured a juice box over there, but she's dumped the popcorn all over the floor. The flight attendant, who's got like a million things going on, the flight attendant apparently looks to mom, the relief pitcher's wife, and says something to the effect of, ma'am, you've got to clean up after your kid because the kid has made a mess. So mom gets off the plane, and mom is outraged that she has been told that she has to clean up the popcorn that her kid has spilled all over the floor of the airplane. At which point in time, after she relates this story to Anthony Bass, he decides to go on to Twitter, and he decides that he is going to rip United Airlines. This is what he writes. The flight attendant at United just made my 22-week pregnant wife traveling with a 5-year-old and a 2-year-old get on her hands and knees to pick up the popcorn mess by my youngest daughter. Are you kidding me? How dare she make my wife clean up after the mess that our kid has made? So he puts that out there on Twitter, and needless to say, there's not necessarily a lot of sympathy for his position. One person responds back and says, well, okay, who do you think should have cleaned it up? And he says, well, that's what United has flight crews for. They had cleaning crews, you know, in the airports. They should be responsible for cleaning up the mess my child has made. Our number is 855-616-1620. That is the Old National Bank talk and text line. Let's start the program with this question. Okay, the lady's on the plane. She's traveling with the 2 kids. One of the kids, like, pours the popcorn all over the floor of the plane, makes a mess. The flight attendant says, ma'am, would you clean up after your child? And she apparently does. If she had refused to do it, I don't know what would have happened. But this guy is upset that the flight attendant asked her, that would be his wife, to clean up after the mess that her child had made on the plane. Was that an unreasonable request? 855-616-1620. That's the Old National Bank talk and text line. Should the Toronto Blue Jays pitcher maybe have thought a minute before he hit send to vent about this, or is he right? Was United unreasonable in asking and having a flight attendant expect the lady whose kid had made the mess to kind of pick up after her own kid? 855-616-1620. We discuss in just a moment.
Jeff Wagner is back right after this on WTMJ.
Hey, WTMJ's John Mercure here. The current economic climate may look grim, but how menacing is it to your retirement plan? Join us Wednesday, April 19th at 11 a.m. for Inflation, Rate Hikes, and Bears Oh My, a special webinar with Dave Spano of Annex Wealth Management. We'll take a historical look and share how inflation, rate hikes, and volatile markets have an impact on retirement planning and what you can do. Inflation and Rate Hikes and Bears Oh My, the webinar, Wednesday, April 19th at 11 a.m. Complete details and registration at annexwealth.com/events.
Hey, business owners, are you feeling the pressures of growing your business? It's tough to maintain momentum and still keep employees engaged. Insperity can help. They put over 35 years of HR experience to work, helping you with hiring, with training, with HR administration, and with compliance, all while giving your employees competitive benefit options. When your people thrive, your business can adapt, your business can prosper. With Insperity, nothing seems impossible. Scalable HR, employee benefits, HR technology, Insperity, HR that makes a difference.
When big national banks make a decision, it requires many emails, phone calls, and plenty of video conferences from around the globe. When we make a banking decision, we do it over a cup of coffee in our office. Finding a local bank that's passionate about the community and knows your name is hard to find these days.
Good morning, Diane. Welcome back.
The search is over.
Waterstone Bank, proud to be your local bank for over 100 years. Love your bank as much as we love this community. Waterstone Bank, Waukesha, Milwaukee, and Washington County.
Member FDIC.
When you come to Kendor Marine, you'll find parts you didn't even know you needed. And if you're a boating enthusiast, like I know you are, then you're going to love wandering the aisles here. We've staked our reputation on thinking just like you. So we know what you need now and what you're going to need later to keep your boat in tip-top shape. This is Dave Doro, and boaters in the know exactly where to go. Kendor Marine, 57th and Ryan Road in Franklin.
Hey boaters, cruise to Kendor Marine. We got everything you need but the water.
KendorMarine.com.
Hey boaters.
We have the go-to marine store. And it's not just because we have all the boat parts and supplies you'll ever need, including oddball parts you thought you'd never be able to find. And it's also because we're cheaper than the other guys too. So why shop anywhere else? This is Dave Doro from Kendor Marine. Boaters in the know exactly where to go. Kendor Marine, 57th and Ryan Road in Franklin.
Hey boaters, cruise to Kendor Marine. We got everything you need but the water.
This is Jeff Wagner on WTMJ.
855-616-1620. Okay, so if you're just tuning in, here's the deal. She's the wife of a Toronto Blue Jays pitcher. He has chosen to go public with this story. She is 22 weeks pregnant. She's on an airplane with their 5-year-old and their 2-year-old. The 2-year-old has one of those bags of popcorn or something and apparently dumps it out all over the floor, makes a mess. The flight attendant comes by and says, "Ma'am, it's words to the effect of, you need to clean up after, can you clean up after your kid?" And the woman gets offended that she's been asked to clean up after her 2-year-old child. He then, this is the pitcher who's not with them, he goes on Twitter ripping United Airlines. And needless to say, well, the response he's getting is not incredibly positive. Somebody says, well, what do you think should have happened? Well, that's why they have cleaning crews. That's why they have cleaning crews. It's their job. You can't expect parents to clean up after their kids. All right, 855-616-1620. Let's start with Mary Jo in Waukesha. Mary Jo, you're first. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Jeff.
What do you think?
Hi, how are you?
I am well. Okay, what do you think on this?
As a former United Airlines flight attendant for 9 years, I can tell you this is outrageous. Who does this guy think he is? And in 5 years, he's going to be, washing cars. So that does not give him the right to demand or say that we are supposed to clean up after his mess. And second of all, yes, we have cleaning crews, but not at every stop. That's not the case.
Right.
And I can only imagine what their house must look like if this is what her attitude is when she's out in public with these kids.
Well, you know,
So,
I'm trying to imagine.
Shame on him and her.
So, all right. So you're in this. I'm sure stuff like this probably happened sometime or other over the course of 9 years. So you see this. You've got the kid who's just made the mess there. I mean, how would you have handled a situation like this?
I would have said exactly the same thing. If could you please clean up after your child? It's not our responsibility to do that. And second of all, if she doesn't see the mess that this kid has made, I mean,
yeah.
Well, I mean, I'm at a loss for words, quite frankly.
Well, you know, it is interesting, Mary Jo, that I do kind of wonder where Mom is when you see the 2-year-old starting to make the mess, you know, starting to spill the popcorn or whatever. Isn't that the time where maybe you say,
sure.
Don't do that, or you take the popcorn away from the kid before it gets to the full mess stage? And apparently she didn't do that at all.
Absolutely. And I believe you said that the woman is 22 years old.
No, she's
Is that
22.
correct?
No, she's 22 months
She
pregnant.
already has a...
She's
So you
22
can't be
months
22
pregnant.
months pregnant.
22 weeks pregnant, right?
No,
22 weeks.
There we go. And she's traveling with 2 kids, yes?
Yes.
A 5-year-old and a 2-year-old.
Yep.
And totally out of control. First of all, she isn't old enough to wipe her own nose. And second of all, she probably has had no social training whatsoever. And total disrespect.
Okay.
Total disrespect.
Okay, thanks for the call, Mary Jo. We're going to put you down as a firm, not sympathetic to the pitcher and his wife. 855-616-1620. That's the Old National Bank talk and text line. Let's talk to Bill in Racine County. Bill, you're on WTMJ. Good afternoon.
Jeff, thanks for taking my call.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so Mom is drop dead gorgeous. She doesn't even begin to look like she's 22 months pregnant.
Right.
Yeah, well, beautiful woman, no doubt about it. The stewardess is having a bad day. Let's let things slide.
Yeah.
That makes sense to you?
Oh, it does. No, thanks for calling. I guess I'm amazed at the outrage and this kind of sense of entitlement that this pitcher has, that he would be offended by somebody saying, "Ma'am, can you clean up after your child?" Now, she then did. One of the other questions that a couple of our texters are raising this is, even if you've let her make the mess, why don't you have the 5-year-old clean it up? I mean, if the idea is, well, she expected me to get down on my hands and knees and clean up the mess, why don't you say to the 5-year-old, hey, you go pick up this popcorn? Jeff, I was a former Walt Disney World cast member. Here's the deal. I think that, first of all, any normal person would try and clean up the mess. I have a 2-year-old, and if he makes a mess, the first person to try to clean it up is me. Add to that the fact that these planes are so quickly turned around at airports, sometimes they don't have the time to clean. I guess, see, and I'm trying to think, let's take it out of the airplane context. So let's imagine you're at a restaurant. You're at a family restaurant with, the kids. And, you have your 2-year-old or your 3-year-old or your 4-year-old who's got the crackers and who's just like crumbling them up and throwing them on the floor or whatever you want to do. I mean, at some point in time, don't you as the parents have this obligation to try to, intervene and stop the kid from, making the mess? Now, I understand it's slightly different because maybe you can make the argument that kind of comes into the category of the waitress having to clean up after you leave. But still, you'd think the parents would make that start. For me, the flight attendants, and maybe I'm just sympathetic to this, and it comes back to what happens with air travel a lot. I mean, the flight attendants have a lot going on. Yes, they're there to serve you the popcorn and serve you the soda, but they're also there to make sure everybody gets on safely, that everybody gets off safely. It's not necessarily their job. It's not their job to clean up after a mess that a 2-year-old makes that is otherwise preventable. And again, the idea of the cleaning crew, that was the first thing I thought of is, a lot of times I'm getting on flights that are connecting flights. In other words, they're flights that are okay, the flight is coming in, it's St. Louis to Fort Myers, and then they get everybody off the plane, and then as quick as they can, they board the plane, and they get you back to, then it's the Milwaukee flight. Well, I'm trying to imagine, okay, we're going to delay that flight, 20 minutes because we've got to get a cleaning crew that's going to come in there to clean up after this kid has made a mess. I don't think it's the flight attendant's job. Yes, you've got the ground crew, but I don't think it's unreasonable, at least in my opinion, to say, clean up in the first place. Let's talk to Michelle in Grafton. Michelle, you're on WTMJ. Good afternoon.
Well, Jeff, it's like when you have a husband and he says, why do you keep asking me to do that? And you say, because I shouldn't have to. Well, the flight attendant should never have had to say to her, why can't you pick this? The mother should just automatically do it. Also, you can say to a 5-year-old, oh, help mommy do this. Look what little Johnny made a big mess. And the 5-year-old will always help and say, mommy will give you an extra treat. Help mommy do this. I mean, there's so many ways to avoid it. And so much is being made out of this. Who cares? For Pete's sake, I'm sure she's a spoiled little mother who doesn't think she probably has a lot of help at home and people clean up after her. But I mean, flight attendants aren't there to remind passengers about what they should and shouldn't be doing. That's ridiculous.
Right. Or to clean up in these. Look, now I understand that there's situations where the flight attendants might get involved. Let's say somebody gets sick on the plane. Okay, that's something, but that's not what this is. This is a child that's made a mess that is easily cleanable. And the woman apparently cops this attitude about, well, how dare you even ask me to clean it up? Now, apparently she did. But the ball player was offended that they would even ask her to do this. I mean, maybe the other answer is, if you're just going to let your kids be out of control in airplanes and making messes like this, maybe that's what you need to do is buy this. You shouldn't be traveling by yourself, and maybe you bring the nanny along or something like that, and then have the nanny clean up after the child. But I mean, I was thinking about this story, and I'm thinking, man, I don't want to be sitting at a restaurant table next to these people. Or you do wonder what goes on at the house. Well, okay, so-and-so's just made a mess. I'm going to let the kid make a mess, and then I'm going to expect somebody else to kind of pick it up. And look, I understand also sometimes this kind of stuff happens. What really set this off, though, and going back to the way we started the segment, is if you want to talk about entitled, I mean, maybe reasonable people can disagree about whether or not the flight attendant should have asked the mom to clean up after the mess the kid made. Maybe reasonable people can disagree about that. But I think it's so interesting that in this case that the ball player was so outraged by this that he thought, I'm going to take to Twitter because I want to rip United Airlines on social media for the way they treated my family. And I think he was very, very surprised that the vast majority of responses, not all, but the vast majority of responses were not too terribly sympathetic. Most people saying, hey, it's your kid. Your kid makes a mess. Why don't you clean up after your kid or stop your kid from making a mess in the first place? Neither one of those positions, I think, is particularly unreasonable. Back with more in just a minute. This is Jeff Wagner, WTMJ.
Don't go anywhere. Jeff Wagner is back right after this.
Creative Planning presents Rethink Your Money with John Hagenson, Saturday afternoon at 1. Creative Planning is a wealth management firm that believes in a total approach to building wealth that includes taxes, insurance, estate planning, and other personalized elements. This approach allows you to receive advice that is aligned with your unique goals and always in your best interests. Why not give your wealth a second look? Visit creativeplanning.com.
Hey, it's 620 WTMJ's Brian D. Summer. It is right around the corner. You know what that means. Graduations, weddings, all of the fun events that come along with the sunshine. Make sure you have your best smile on display when you're out and about. And for all the photos you're going to be taking, go see my guy, Dr. James Michaels at Oconomowoc Dental Care. Whether it's a regular routine cleaning, a simple exam, a more complex procedure, a teeth white, whitening, Dr. Michaels and the team at Oconomowoc Dental Care are the best. They're going to make you as comfortable as possible while you're in the chair and give both you and your family an amazing smile. How do I know? He's my dentist. He takes care of me just like he's going to take great care of you. At Oconomowoc Dental Care, affordable quality dentistry is no longer a dream. It is the reality. Dr. Michaels' fantastic staff can help you out with a no-interest payment plan. We all have to go to the dentist, so do not put it off any longer. Go see my guy, Dr. James Michaels at Oconomowoc Dental Care.
You can search for the biggest bat selection, but I'm here to save you time because the best baseball and softball bat selection in the Midwest is right here at Burkhart Sporting Goods. We stock just about every bat on the market from all the top manufacturers like Easton, DeMarini, Louisville Slugger, Marucci, and more, and sell them all at the guaranteed lowest prices. So get in here and try a few out in our indoor batting cages. There's no need to look any further because when it comes to bats, if you want it, we got it at Burkhart Sporting Goods.
You can't beat Burkhart.
When you run a team, you want great uniforms, and you know selling spiritware is vital. That's why Burkhart Sporting Goods will create a free custom website for you to sell your families and players the coolest spiritwear from Nike and Under Armour, as well as the basics, while helping you fundraise at the same time. We take the hassle out of coordinating your team's apparel and make shopping and buying easy. So when you need awesome spiritwear and uniforms for your organization, you can't beat Burkhart.
You can't beat Burkhart.
What if you could build a six-figure retirement income with almost half the money saved? You heard that right. Get a discount on your retirement, creating a six-figure income with 40% less than traditional 401ks and mutual funds. Hi, I'm Mitch Lyons, best-selling author and executive producer of a new Hollywood documentary called The Baby Boomer Dilemma. In this film, economists and Nobel Prize-winning PhDs from Wharton, MIT, and Stanford share a strange concept I call the retirement discount. It gives you more retirement income with the same dollar saved, and your money is never at risk if the market crashes. That's right. If the market crashes 30%, you lose nothing. Even people who are on track have shifted money to this new strategy because it increases their retirement income or can allow them to stop working years sooner. So if you are over 50 and want a bigger, better retirement with less money, call to get a free copy of this brand new movie, 1-800-578-3535. This is a $30 value, but when you call today, you get it completely free, plus 2 hours of bonus behind-the-scenes footage. No credit card required. Call right now. 1-800-578-3535. That's 1-800-578-3535. Again, 1-800-578-3535.
Welcome back to Jeff Wagner on WTMJ.
Okay, so Eric Bilstead, we are live streaming the shows now, and so it's opened up this whole different universe, because I know that I was just amazed at how many people chose to watch part of the show yesterday, but now I'm getting comments about your clothing and stuff. Like one of our listeners just said, cool pullover. It's very nice coordination job with the button down.
You look very nice today, Jeff.
Well, my point was my wife dresses me. That's that's it. But it's okay, this is this other world out there now. People are going to be saying, all right, how did you do that? Well, right, if you don't like the way I've dressed, obviously I got out of the house without my wife seeing me. But otherwise, Fran dresses me. WTMJ breaking news time is 12:31 p.m. And from the WTMJ Breaking News Center, here he is, always dressed well, Eric Bilstead.
Thank you, sir. Back on track at Milwaukee Mitchell and at airports across the country. Southwest Airlines delayed departures for thousands of flights for a short time today. The airline says a firewall supplied by a vendor went down early Tuesday, prompting them to be grounded. Airline going on Twitter to apologize to travelers who are being delayed, but right now things look to be getting back to normal. A hotel development project for Milwaukee's east side is getting the go-ahead from the Common Council. Council approving a plan that would bring an 11-story hotel to Farwell near Brady. And gates to American Family Field going to open earlier on Saturdays. The Brewers say fans can start entering the stadium now 2 hours before first pitch. Usually it's 90 minutes. Now the change is only for Saturday home games. It'll give fans more time to get inside during those major promotional giveaway dates. By the way, on Saturday, the first 30,000 fans receive a Yelich Yelly tumbler. So first day of the earlier open time is Saturday. Time now for news about your money and the WTMJ Annex Wealth Management Market Update. Right now, everything in the red. The Dow down 23 to 33,963. The Nasdaq is down 25 to 12,132. The S&P is down 2 to 41.49. Get on track with investment and retirement planning. Visit annexwealth.com and click the Get Started button today. Checking the roads with your Johnson & Sons Paving Time Saver traffic. Looks good at the way out right now. 94 westbound, downtown through the zoo to Highway 16. That's clear. That is a 17-minute ride. 4145 southbound, Highway Q to the zoo is also on time. That's 15. 43 northbound downtown up to Brown Deer Road, no problems there. That's 12, and 94 to the south from the Marquette to Layton. Delay-free, that's a 7-minute ride.
Traffic is sponsored by Wagner Compressor, ready to service any facility at pressureisoff.biz.
Servicing world-class Wisconsin manufacturers for 9 decades. Contact Wediger Compressor at pressureisoff.biz.
Wagner Compressor.
The WTMJ 5-day forecast. Sunny today, a high of 54. Tonight, a clear sky, a low of 38. Wednesday, cloudy. There is a chance for some storms on Wednesday, a high of 52. Thursday, same thing, chance for storms and a high of 65. Friday, partly cloudy, a high of 57. Saturday, cloudy, slight chance for a wintry mix on Saturday and a high of 45. Right now in Milwaukee, 48. I'm Eric Bilstead, Siding Unlimited, WTMJ News Time, 1234.
I'm Jeff Wagner. Coming up next, when you play stupid games, sometimes you win stupid prizes. I'll explain. We'll discuss.
Don't go anywhere. Jeff Wagner is back right after this on WTMJ.
You know, it feels good when I find something really cool and get a great deal on it. But it feels even better when I know that the money I spend actually goes directly to helping others. That's why I shop at St. Vincent de Paul, because I always find the best bargains, and the money I spend stays in Milwaukee County to help fight hunger and eliminate poverty. St. Vincent de Paul thrift stores on Highway 100 in Layton in Greenfield and 23rd in Lincoln in Milwaukee.
You're gonna love it, St. Vincent de Paul.
In Wisconsin, our festivals and events are in full swing all summer long. Here's to seeing legendary golfers at the U.S. Senior Open Championship in Stevens Point, to joining thousands of your closest music-loving friends at Summerfest in Milwaukee, and to wondering, where art thou, Romeo, at the Wisconsin Shakespeare Festival premiere this summer in Eau Claire. Here's to those who Wisconsin. Find more summer events at travelwisconsin.com.
Hey, WTMJ's John Mercure here. For my friends at Dave Drake Camp Heating, it's that time of year. We get occasional tastes of warmth, a much welcome reminder that summer's on the way. That means it's time to call Dave Drake Camp Heating to schedule your preseason tune-up. Whether it's overdue maintenance or repair you forgot to take care of last year or the need for a total system overhaul, do it now. Dave Drake Camp Heating is Lake Country's preferred Lennox premier dealer. They're ready to help. With healthy inventories, Lennox rebates, incentives, and possible tax credits, go with the company I trust. Visit DaveDrakeCamp.com.
It's ESPN Wisconsin's Greg Scalzo for Smart Spaces. How can Smart Spaces transform your business?
We take an inventory, see what they have, and analyze what their goals are. And what do these spaces need? Does it need to be a simple presentation space, or does it need to be a full-blown conferencing space? No longer are the days of just Zoom rooms and team rooms. These are agnostic spaces. We have to make that easy. The ease of use is first and foremost in all the systems that we do.
Let Smart Spaces transform your business today. Visit smartspaceswi.com.
Welcome back to Jeff Wagner on WTMJ.
So very glad to have you with us. Just one final thought on what we were talking about in the last segment of the program regarding to what the obligations are of people to clean up after their kids. Jeff, I was a commercial pilot. One of my pet peeves was going back and seeing parents allowing their kids to ravage the cabin. If my flight attendants had an issue, I had no problem sorting it out with the wayward parents. There is a chance the child in this case might just have dropped the bag and it spilled. In that case, the mom might have been insulted that the flight attendant called her out. I'm sorry, but the flight attendant has a job to do, and it's not to mind your kid's business. I have no sympathy for the mom. Life happens. This is a dad of 4 who is speaking. I get it, but you really need to get over it. All right, here is the story, and it goes back to one of the principal arguments I have been making for decades. If you run from the police, bad things happen. Nothing ever good comes of that. And I've always made this argument. If you think you've been wrongly pulled over by the cops, fine, let them give you the ticket, let them give you the citation. You always have a remedy. You hire a lawyer, you go to court, you file a complaint, you go on Twitter, whatever. But you always make it worse when you escalate the situation. Arguing and getting belligerent with a police officer is never, ever going to help you. And many times it hurts you. But nowadays, it seems to me the default position on so many people is we're going to run. That's it. We're not going to pull over. We're just going to take off. And once you make that decision, you open the doors for all sorts of bad things to happen, which brings me to this story, June 27th of last year, Akron, Ohio. Right? What happens is there's a 25-year-old black man named Jalen Walker. Right? So Jalen Walker is driving his car. The police see the car, and apparently he's got a broken taillight and a broken light on his rear license plate. They decide to pull the guy over because of these equipment violations. He takes off, all right, doesn't pull over. The police make the decision at that point in time that they're not going to chase him, so they let him drive off. All right, about 10 minutes later, the same intersection, they see the car again that has run from them. This time they decide, okay, we've now seen this car again. We're going to pull them over. So they put on the bubble lights. They start to pursue. Instead of, again, stopping, getting the ticket for whatever, the lights out or whatever, Walker refuses to stop and takes off. So now this time the police decide to chase. About 40 seconds into the pursuit, Walker fires a shot from his moving car at the police. So you got the police car behind him. This guy leans out he's driving and he leans out the window and he fires a shot at the pursuing police. Okay, well, now you've taken what is an equipment violation and a fleeing, and now you've got a guy who's shooting at the cops. And all bets at this point in time are off. Officers chase the car on a freeway and on city streets until Walker bails out of the vehicle. He doesn't even stop the car. It's still moving. He jumps out of the car. He's wearing a ski mask, all right? And he runs into the parking lot. You have a number of police officers that are chasing him, and they're all screaming, stop, stop, show us your hands, stop. He continues to run. At one point in time, now several police officers are chasing him. He's ignoring their commands to stop. He's ignoring their commands to show his hands. He then reaches towards his waistband and raises his hand as officers are chasing. At that point in time, a number of the officers, they then shoot. Matter of fact, there were a total of somewhere over 40 bullets that were fired because you had several of these officers who were chasing him. They all start to fire once they see the guy, reach into his waistband and start to turn. They shoot, they kill him. It turns out that he did not have his gun with him. He had a gun, had a loaded gun, and he had, in fact, fired a shot at the police officers, but he left the gun in the car when he started to run away. But the police officers, of course, did not know that he had, left the handgun with a loaded magazine in the car because they're chasing him. All they see is him refusing to stop. He's running. He's got the ski mask on. He reaches into his waistband and starts to turn around, and they shoot. And a number of the officers shot, like I say, it was over 40 bullets. So, of course, because of the racial component of this, you have a number of people in Akron who are just outraged by this, and the argument is this is another example of the execution of a black man by the police officers and things like that. So the district attorney presents this to the grand jury to make a decision as to whether any or all of the officers should be charged, and the decision that the grand jury reaches yesterday is no charges. No charges brought against the officers. And the general argument, and the police union says, look, the officers, having been shot at once by this guy who was fleeing, thought there was an immediate threat of serious harm, and they shot him. And they shot him repeatedly because officers are taught, it's not like the movies where you fire the one shot, you try to wing them, or you try to get the gun to fly out of their hand. You're taught that when you shoot to end the threat. So these officers fired multiple times. He ended up dying. The grand jury says, no, we do not believe there is a basis to bring criminal charges against the officers. There will, of course, be a civil lawsuit, but that's a different story. Our number is 855-616-1620, which is the Old National Bank talk and text line. All right, here is my question. is justice being done here? Should criminal charges have been brought against the multiple officers who were pursuing this man who was fleeing from them, and in the course of fleeing from them, he had, of course, fired a shot at them? So, under these circumstances, was it an unreasonable position for them, believing he still had his gun with him and believing that he was turning, at least the concern was he was going to turn and fire? All right, did they err? Were they wrong? Should they be criminally charged for shooting him? 855-616-1620. We discuss in a moment.
Don't go anywhere. Jeff Wagner is back right after this.
If you want to be sure that you're getting financial planning advice you can trust, work with a fiduciary. A fiduciary should be someone who acts as a steward for you. It means they treat your assets as if they were their own, that they protect them as if they were their own, and that they try to grow them as if they were their own. Now you can take this for what it's worth, but I'm doing all I can to run a firm you can trust. That's why we're a fee-only, comprehensive financial planning firm that doesn't work for anyone but our clients and focuses only on their best interest. By being a steward, being a fiduciary to help our clients reach their financial goals. I'm Jim Cantrell, and I believe we can show you a wiser way to build your wealth. So go to financialstrategiesinc.com and schedule a no-cost consultation.
Financial strategies, a wiser way to build your wealth.
Got chronic joint pain but want to avoid steroids and surgery? Take some advice from pro football legend Emmitt Smith. Call QC Kinetics.
Let QC Kinetics help you improve your quality of life with biologic therapies that get your body to repair and restore damaged tissue.
These exciting new regenerative treatments from local medical professionals can help your body heal itself with lasting pain relief.
Trust me, you want to avoid surgery if you can. Check out these biologic treatments to see what your options are.
QC Kinetics. Restorative, regenerative solutions with no downtime, no surgery, no drugs.
I'm talking about joint pain we all can relate to in your knees, your shoulders, your hips, and your lower back. They'll get you feeling good again.
Get relief now.
What are you waiting on? Make the call to QC Kinetics. Tell them Emmitt Smith sent you.
Call QC Kinetics, 414-285-3474. That's 414-285-3474. 414-285-3474.
After a serious accident, you'll need a winning team to protect your rights. Trust Wisconsin's own Ruger offices. Proud partner of your Milwaukee Brewers. One call, that's all.
Visit family-owned Ken Michaels Furniture and our in-store design centers where you'll still find beautiful, luxurious, heirloom-quality American-made furniture. Right now, save 30 to 35% store-wide and take advantage of our complimentary design services. Whether you're moving, renovating, or updating, our designers will help your vision become a reality. Visit Ken Michaels Furniture in Brookfield on Capitol Drive and in Greenfield on Highway 100 to save 30 to 35% store-wide today. Stop into Ken Michaels Furniture for our sale on Bradington Young, made in the foothills of the Great Smoky Mountains. Bradington Young is an American icon in quality leather upholstery. Whether you're looking for power recliners or stationary seating, BY's Furniture is made with enduring quality, outstanding comfort, and timeless styling. Save 35% now on Bradington Young upholstery at Ken Michaels Furniture in Brookfield and Greenfield. Visit us today.
Welcome back to Jeff Wagner on WTMJ.
Inflation, the return of the bear, 2023 sectors, and answering all your questions about it. Join Dave Spano from Annex Wealth Management, along with Wisconsin's afternoon news host John Mercure, for a special webinar, Inflation, Rate Hikes, and Bears, Oh My, kind of like lions and tigers and bears, oh my, on Wednesday, April 19th at 11 a.m. You can register for this free webinar at WTMJ.com. Click on the Features tab and visit the Annex Wealth Management webinar page. Look, I feel safe in saying that nobody or almost nobody in law enforcement ever relishes the need to, the desire to, or takes any enjoyment in pulling out their weapon and using lethal force. They don't. But this is one of those situations where you have cops that have to make a split-second decision. And in this particular situation in Akron, Ohio, it really is. What do you expect the police officers to do? You've got a guy in a ski mask who has been fleeing, first of all, in a car, who fired a shot at the pursuing officers. He is now fleeing. He is refusing instructions to stop, drop, raise your hands, or whatever. He reaches into his waistband and starts to turn. And yes, a number of the officers who are chasing him, then they discharge their firearms, and they hit him multiple times. But they're shooting because they believe he has a gun. All right, grand jury in Akron, Ohio yesterday says, no, we don't believe they committed a crime. Did they get it right? Let's start with Danny in Janesville. Danny, you're on WTMJ.
Hey, Jeff, how you doing?
Good. Did the grand jury get it right?
Of course they did. Your story irritated me for two reasons. One, it's like, okay, have these people ever seen an episode of Cops? So it doesn't matter if you're black, red, yellow, or green. If you run from the cops, you're going to get what you deserve, whether it be a pit maneuver or thrown to the pavement. Now, when you show a gun, or even worse, shoot at a cop, okay, that's pretty much a death sentence.
Well,
if you're not shot and killed, you're going to be hurt badly. Now, the part that irks me other than that was what you said about a possible civil suit. And it's like, okay, if the cops did something wrong, fine, but it's like, where's the accountability? The person pulled out a gun and fired at the cops.
Yeah.
At that point, come on, it's fair game.
Well, I mean, thanks for calling. I mean, look, and look, you're still here. I mean, under the law, your police officers are only allowed to use lethal force when they believe that their life or the life of somebody else is in danger. But in these sort of circumstances, that's why if he had been surrendering, he shot at the cops before, he pulls over the side of the road, he gets out with his hands up, then somebody shoots him. That's a whole different story. But that's not what happened in this case. What happened is he's wearing the ski mask, he bails on the car, he starts from the car, he starts running. He is not complying with the police instructions. The police don't know that the gun that was used to take a shot at them a while back is back in the car. They think he's got the gun. They think he's getting ready to turn. And in these situations, I don't understand how I don't think it's fair to say that the police should be doing something different. They don't, and I say this, 2 weeks after, 2 Wisconsin law enforcement officers lost their life in a routine traffic stop. I don't think you have to wait until somebody shoots and kills a police officer before they're able to return fire. Jeff, after hearing the story, it's amazing that none of the other officers were injured or killed. I believe the death of this man should be placed on his shoulders. All he had to do was stop. Well, that's right. All he had to do was stop, which is why if you listen to so many of the stories that we talk about on a regular basis on this program, it is by running, you escalate the situation. And you always make it worse. And for whatever reason nowadays, everybody runs. There's a story, maybe we'll get to it, maybe not, later on today, about somebody else running from the police, blows through a red light, hits and seriously injures, somebody else when they crash their car. When you make that decision that you are going to run, much less pulling out a gun and taking a pot shot at the police who are chasing you, you've got to recognize that this bad stuff is going to happen. You've taken a bad situation, you've made it worse. A number of people on our text line are speculating about whether this sounds almost like a suicide by cop sort of thing, which you do wonder. The behavior is so beyond the pale in a situation like this where you've got multiple cops that are chasing you, you fired a shot at them, they're telling you to stop, they're telling you to raise your hands, and you refuse to do it. It's almost like you wonder, was the guy trying to prompt something like this? Mike in Illinois. Mike, good afternoon. You're on WTMJ.
Good afternoon, Jeff. How are you?
I am well. What do you think about all this?
Well, obviously always tragic when somebody is shot by anyone, but I believe the grand jury got it right. If he had not fired shots at the cops already, it would have been a lot more gray, because anytime a cop sees who's running from them, not listening to their commands, they reach for a waistband, are going to turn around. We had something similar that happened in Chicago not that long ago. I mean, that's a judgment call. But he's already fired at them.
Yep.
I mean, so most reasonable people would assume if he's reaching into his waistband, turning around, he's going to fire again. As I said, always tragic, but I think the grand jury got it right.
Yeah, I mean, I'm with you, and it is a tragic situation, and it is. But these are the type of situations where you have to put yourself in the perspective, in my opinion, of law enforcement officers, which is you have to make a split-second decision. And in many cases, that split-second decision, if, for example, if you didn't think the guy had a gun, this is a different sort of story. If the guy hadn't fired a shot at the police, it's a different story. If somebody had known right away that the gun was not on his person, that you see him get out of the car, drop the gun, and then he's running, and it's 2 blocks later, and the gun's been dropped. That's a different story. But none of those things are present here. So there's this whole issue about, okay, is Akron going to explode with people protesting and things like this? And I understand that there is the racial element to it. I do not know the races of the 8 police officers who were involved. I don't know if it was all white cops or all black cops or some mix or whatever. But all I know is in this particular case, while some people might want to see this racially, I'm not even sure they knew the race of the individual because he was wearing a ski mask at the time. All you know is you've got somebody you try to pull over for a routine thing who's fled from you, who's taken a pot shot at you, and is now running away from you. What do you expect the police to do? Now, some people are saying, well, he was shot 40-plus times. Well, that's because you have a number of the officers who were chasing him. Once they thought he was going to fire on him, they all opened fire. I mean, it was kind of like the ending scene at Bonnie and Clyde. I mean, or Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid. They all opened fire. But police officers are taught that you shoot until you end the threat. So, yes, there were a lot of bullets that were fired, but that's how they're taught. If you're allowed to use lethal force, you use enough lethal force to make sure that the guy is down, and that's what happened here. And I guess to me it doesn't make too much difference whether he was shot 40 times or whether he was shot 8 times or whatever. None of this happens if he doesn't resist arrest. Back with more in just a minute. This is Jeff Wagner.
Don't go anywhere. Jeff Wagner is back right after this.
Valley Sports Wisconsin's Zora Stevenson has the in-depth Bucks knowledge you need from both on
Brooke, they call you Splash Mountain, but what do you think about Clutch Mountain?
And off the court.
Who on the Bucks roster is most likely to look at the menu before he sits down to have a meal?
I'm going to go with Pat Connaughton, only because it's like a running joke that he plans like every minute of his life.
It's Tuesdays with Zora, every Tuesday at 5:45 on Wisconsin's Afternoon News.
You might not think of Burkhart for corporate uniforms and other business apparel, but you should, because a lot of businesses do. And it's because most times we're cheaper than our competition on the same high-quality apparel choices that the other guys offer, plus Nike and Under Armour that the other guys can't get. So for businesses and corporations, if you want your employees to look great while representing your brand, and you want to get your apparel for less, you can't beat Burkhart, your business uniform specialists.
You can't beat Burkhart.
The task of lining up your group apparel sales can take up a lot of your time, but Burkhart Sporting Goods can make it so easy. The group sale web stores that we provide our customers at no charge to line up their team or corporate apparel sales is a simple way of gathering all the info you need. It's easy to work, easy to understand, and with it you'll have access to nearly limitless options. This is Brian Burkhart with Burkhart Sporting Goods. Give us a call and let us show you just how easy group apparel sales can be.
You can't beat Burkhart.
Sponsored by Progressive Insurance. Looking for a career path with flexibility and great pay and benefits? Go to progressive.com/careers and apply online today.
Alleviate your pain, rejuvenate your life.
Rejuvenex.com.
Outdoor Living Unlimited turns yards into patios and decks, fire pits, pavers, retaining walls, even screen rooms and outdoor kitchens. Come see it all at the unique Outside In Gerke's Corners showroom they share with Siding Unlimited, the best area installer of siding, of course, but also windows, doors, roofing, and decks. Their combo open house is this Saturday from 9 to 1. Meet the product reps and the Siding Unlimited and Outdoor Living Unlimited teams. Check out sidingunlimited.com and outdoorlivingunlimited.com. Open house this Saturday from 9 to 1.
Explore Milwaukee's iconic Harley-Davidson Museum this spring. The Harley-Davidson Museum campus boasts one-of-a-kind shopping with exclusive Harley gear from 2 new retail stores, an interactive experience gallery, and the Motor Bar and Restaurant. Riverfront dining with daily specials like fish fries and barbecue. And make it a point to ride over on May 4th for Bike Night. where you can stock up with up to 70% off on deals from their factory shop. The Harley-Davidson Museum, 15 years as one of Milwaukee's top tourist destinations.
WTMJ, W277CV, and WKTI HD2 Milwaukee from the Annex Wealth Management Studios. This is News Radio WTMJ, a Good Karma brand station. Jeff Wagner on WTMJ.
Hey, join WTMJ as we support the Brewers Community Foundation, benefiting the Wisconsin Humane Society. Thursday, April 20th. That is 2 days from now in the parking lot of American Family Field. The Brewers will be accepting donations to benefit those pets sheltered at the Humane Society. What a great cause. Blankets, towels, beds, food, etc. No matter how small the donation is, anything helps. Donations start at 7 a.m. Again, it's on Thursday, April 20th. That's 2 days from today. The Brewers will also be accepting donations during their homestand against the Red Sox, April 21st through the 23rd inside AmFam Field. When we come back after the top of the hour news. All right, it's another shooting, this time involving an 84-year-old man. Then we're going to talk about the party bus from you-know-where. Then we're going to talk about what it's going to take to make improvements at American Family Field and some new ideas that are being circulated. All that and a lot more is coming up. We resume the program right after the top of the hour news.
Stick around. Jeff Wagner is right around the corner.
Did you know that the Inflation Reduction Act can save you thousands on energy-efficient updates like new insulation, siding, windows, and more? And these dollars are in addition to Focus on Energy rebates. I'm Randy Miller, owner of All Right Home and Remodeling and S&E Insulation. As Department of Energy Century Club Award winners, my team has the proven skills and experience to help you take advantage of these unprecedented incentives. Get started at ALLRITE-remodeling.com.
It's Jeff Levering for Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin. Up to bat is Pella's award-winning Easy Slide innovation. Look at that effortless horizontal window slide, letting in lots of light. And that roll, it's a double play. Like magic, the screen disappears when the window is closed. On deck is Pella's Reserve Series patio door, featuring the best lifetime warranty in the industry. Just look at that slide. It's a perfect fit. Order by April 30th and get 0% for 48 months at PellaWI.com.
Certain restrictions apply.
What's better than the look and feel of real leather? The amazing prices at Steinhafels.
The place to get caught up, to speak out, to connect and be entertained. We are Wisconsin's radio station. News Radio 620 WTMJ, Milwaukee.
1 o'clock, 48 degrees, sunny today, a high of 54. From the WTMJ Breaking News Center, I'm Eric Bilstad. Tragedy overnight on Marquette University's campus, and now Marquette is identifying the student who died in the dorms overnight. The university says first-year student Cameron Ray passed away. In a statement, calling him attentive, thoughtful, and interactive. First responders were called to the Cobean Residence Hall Monday evening when Ray was found unresponsive. Later was pronounced dead. Counseling services now available for students on campus. An autopsy is underway. More than 1,700 Southwest Airlines flights have been delayed because of another computer issue for the airline. Flights out of Milwaukee Mitchell appear to be back on track right now, but it was bad for a bit.
From coast to coast, again, Southwest planes were grounded, and again, the airline is blaming a computer problem. In December, Southwest systems melted down right around Christmas. This time, the airline is blaming a firewall issue from a third-party vendor that caused data connection issues. All Southwest planes on the ground could not take off for a while. It's been fixed, but hundreds of Southwest flights are delayed today. Alex Stone, EBC News.
Gates to American Family Field are going to open earlier on Saturdays. The Brewers say fans can start entering the stadium 2 hours before first pitch. Gates usually open 90 minutes beforehand. Now, the change is only for Saturday home games. It'll give fans more time to get inside when there's the big promotional giveaway dates. Of course, we have a big one on Saturday. The first 30,000 fans receive a Yelich Yelly tumbler when the Brewers take on the Red Sox. The Northwestern Mutual Community Park inside the Summerfest grounds now open for the season, open to the public from 10A to 7P. It offers some inclusive and accessible play for children aged 2 to 12. Sports, traffic, and weather next. Siding Unlimited, WTMJ News Time 102.
Jeff and Roxanne here with Rhino Shield Ceramic Coating. Never paint your house again.
Rhino Shield will keep 100% of the rain and 90% of the heat from penetrating your house.
And it looks just like paint, but will last 5 times longer, and it's guaranteed for 25 years.
And it still comes in any color, as long as it's your wife's favorite.
Get 25% off their 25-year warranty if you book by the 25th. Call 262-900-4055 or visit rhinoshield.com.
Go Rhino Shield!
The Laugh Out Loud Tony Award-winning play, God of Carnage, comes to Milwaukee Rep this spring. This explosive comedy is all fun and games until the grown-ups get hurt. When two sets of parents politely meet to settle a schoolyard spat between their sons, the gloves come off as neighborly decorum disintegrates into no-holds-barred mayhem. An entertaining look at what happens when the little things push us over the edge. God of Carnage, playing April 18th through May 14th. For tickets, visit MilwaukeeRep.com.
Wisconsin weather can put a damper on things, but don't let it ruin your outdoor plans. Sister Bay Furniture is furniture built in Wisconsin for Wisconsin. Built from premium, sustainable materials, Sister Bay Furniture endures the grueling conditions of Wisconsin weather. That's commercial-grade quality for your outdoor space. Stop by their showroom today, located out in Sussex on Executive Drive, or visit their website today at sisterbayfurniture.com. Sister Bay Furniture, built in Wisconsin for Wisconsin.
Old National Bank is asking businesses to get old. But first, they have questions.
Who runs my business if I get old?
You do. You can get old and remain young.
Is that possible?
With a commercial bank as good as Old National, yes.
What will it feel like to get old?
Well, business owners describe a feeling of euphoria, having local decision-making and committed relationship bankers.
Okay, one old guy coming up.
Introducing Old National Bank, where business relationships and results matter. Old National Bank. Get old. Member FDIC.
Bucks and Heat on a Wednesday night from Fiserv Forum. Game 2 of the best-of-7 series with Milwaukee trailing 1-0. MRI results on Giannis's back contusion come back clean, according to Bucks head coach Mike Budenholzer, who has not yet confirmed if Giannis will be available for Wednesday night's Game 2. Hear all Bucks playoff games right here on the home of the Bucks, 620 WTMJ. Brewers and Mariners tonight from Seattle. Milwaukee with a record of 12-5 after last night's 7-3 win. Corbin Burns, Brewers starting pitcher, dealing with pectoral muscle strain. Craig Counsell not yet willing to say if it will cost him at one start or land him on the injured list. Here tonight's game on WTMJ with coverage beginning at 8:05. Greg Matzik, WTMJ Sports.
Checking your roads with your Johnson & Sons paving time saver traffic. 94 westbound. Downtown through the zoo to Highway 16 all the way out is looking smooth. That's a 17-minute ride. 4145 southbound Highway Q to the zoo is delay-free. That's 15. 43 northbound downtown up to Brown Deer Road. No problems. 12 minutes. 94 to the south. Also looking good from the Marquette to Layton on time. That is a 7-minute commute.
Traffic is sponsored by Harwood Place Senior Living.
Learn more about Harwood Place Retirement Living's newly renovated apartments and updated pricing options at our May 10th open house. To RSVP or to schedule a tour, visit harwoodplace.org.
The WTMJ 5-day forecast. Tonight's going to clear up, a low of 38 degrees. For your Wednesday, cloudy. There's a chance for some showers and storms Wednesday, a high of 52. Thursday, another chance for storms, a high of 65. Friday, partly cloudy, a high of 57. Saturday, cloudy, slight chance for a wintry mix on Saturday and a high of 45 degrees. Right now in Madison, it's 48. Green Bay, 53. Waukesha, 47 degrees, and in Milwaukee, 50. I'm Eric Bilstead, Siding Unlimited, WTMJ News Time 106.
Live from the Annex Wealth Management Studios at the Avenue, it's the Jeff Wagner Show. Now, here's WTMJ's Jeff Wagner.
Good afternoon, Wisconsin. So very glad to have you with us. Again, a quick reminder, you can listen to us live. There's a number of ways to do that, and I know people go on our app, on the mobile app, or WTMJ.com, and you can hit the Listen Live button. But in addition, now we are live streaming, and you can watch the shows live as well. So all you have to do is, you can go to WTMJ.com, and there's a new button that says Watch Live. There's the mobile app. There's the WTMJ YouTube page. We have a YouTube page. Matter of fact, this morning I was kind of playing around on one of our TVs down here, and I was able to actually tracked down the broadcast from yesterday's show, and I saw that hundreds and hundreds of people had checked in and watched us on YouTube. How cool is that? And our social channels. Look while you listen with the WTMJ video stream. Also, there is, of course, the podcast page. It's just, I always sort of forget about that, but I know that that's the way a lot of you listen to us. I was saying, I was at the gym on Saturday morning, and there's a guy on the treadmill, and he says, "You're Jeff Wagner." And I said, "I am." And he said, "I'm listening to your show right now." And I said, "Oh, that's kind of spooky." It is, but that's how a lot of people take it in. So whether it's the podcast page, the live stream, we're everywhere. You just can't get away from us. That's kind of the rules. All right, here is the story. It's making national news. It happened last Thursday night in Kansas City, Missouri. It involves a 16-year-old young man. His name is Ralph Yarl. And to the extent that some people want to make this a racial issue or see a racial component to it, he is black. The story is that he is tasked. It's about 10:30 at night, and his parents say to him, "Look, we need you to go pick up your brother and sister, or your brothers or whatever, two of your siblings. They're over at a friend's house, and we need you to go to pick them up." And they tell them, okay, this is where the kids are. They are at a residence on 115th Terrace in Kansas City. And I guess this is kind of like, sometimes you get, there'll be like 115th Court, and there'll be 115th Street, and there'll be 115th Circle. Instead of going to 115th Terrace, he goes to a residence on 115th Street, which is a block away. All right, so he's gone to the wrong house. So what he does is he goes up to the house. In his story, what he says is he goes up, he rings the doorbell, and he waits from somewhere between 3 and 5 minutes, and then the door opens up. Now, this is what the kid says. It says, then he saw a man appear. The homeowner, according to the teen's recollection, said something about not wanting him to come around anymore and opened fire on the boy's face from behind a screened glass door. 2 shots, one shot hits him in the head, another shot hits him in the arm as he goes down. Okay, the prosecutor says, well, that's what the victim says. We're not sure that there were actually any words exchanged. The guy who is behind the door is an 84-year-old man named Andrew Lester. Okay, according to the criminal complaint, this is what Lester says happened. He said he had just laid down in his bed when he heard the doorbell, and he went to the door. He said his house has an interior door and an exterior storm door. He opened the interior door and saw a black male that he perceived to be 6 feet tall pulling on the storm door. He said that he was afraid someone was trying to break into the house. He opened fire from his Smith & Wesson .32 caliber pistol within seconds of opening the door. The kid, in his statement, says he didn't pull on the door. He said he was shot immediately. All right, so that's kind of the circumstances behind this. Missouri has what they call stand your ground and the castle doctrine laws. Those laws don't require individuals to retreat when they perceive a threat, but you cannot act in self-defense unless there exists a reasonable fear of deadly force or assault. The prosecutors are saying the act of knocking on a door or ringing a doorbell would not be a justifiable reason for using deadly force. Under the law, you have to do more than just say, I feel threatened. You have to prove that something threatening was actually going on. He has now been charged with a Class A felony in Missouri, which is one of the most serious ones. It carries up to 30 years in prison. Sentencing range is 10 to 30 years. He's 84 years old, so effectively, if he is convicted of this, it's going to be a life sentence. Our number is 855-616-1620. That is the Old National Bank talk and text line. I think that's kind of a fair recitation of events. The 16-year-old kid was not armed. He says there was a brief exchange. The homeowner says there wasn't. Homeowner says he was trying to pull on the storm door. Kid says, no, that never happened. They just opened the door and he shot. All right, let's tee this up. Should the 84-year-old man be charged under these circumstances? 855-616-1620. I'll tell you where I come down on this, and we'll discuss. What do you think? 855-616-1620. That's the Old National Bank talk and text line. Back with your calls and texts in just a moment.
More Jeff Wagner right after this. That's great, but this is a different kind of drive. Join WTMJ as we support the Brewers Community Foundation, benefiting the Wisconsin Humane Society on Thursday, April 20th in the parking lot of American Family Field. The Brewers will be accepting supplies and donations to help create a better life for our four-legged friends. It's the Brewers Community Foundation Drive, Thursday, April 20th, starting at 7 a.m.
AccuNet Mortgage is an equal housing lender. NMLS ID 255368.
This is Brian Wickert, back to report even more home buyers paid over the asking price last month, rising to 50% in the 5-county metro area. 3 out of 10 paid $10,000 or more above that list price. The good news is appraised values are generally keeping up with the over-asking offers. Still, the most powerful thing a buyer can do to make their offer the most attractive in a multiple offer situation is to give the seller some appraisal wiggle room. Telling the seller you're willing to pay over the asking price, even if the house appraises lower, sounds scary because most buyers think they have to fill that potential gap with more down payment. But in the vast majority of cases, AccuNet is showing home buyers how they can offer appraisal wiggle room without bringing a nickel more to closing. Appraisal wiggle room is like a good card trick. You need to see it to believe it. So if you're home shopping with a flimsy, unimaginative bank pre-approval, upgrade today to an AccuNet rock-solid guaranteed pre-approval by clicking on the blue button at AccuNet.com. That's ACCUNET.com.
WTMJ's Vince Vitrano here. Would you like your employees to be better leaders, improved critical thinkers, and become more self-aware? LAK Group's coaching services can help. Their coaching has led to impressive, sustainable organizational change, and it's founded on the International Coaching Federation's core principles, aligning individual performance to the needs of your company. Find out how LAK Group's coaching can help you. Visit transformingcareers.com. LAK Group. Discover your human advantage.
It's our lowest prices of the season at Blaine's Farm and Fleet. Right now, shop unbeatable deals on the things you need for spring. Like $6 off 40-pound bags of Blaine's brand cat food. Stabil gasoline stabilizer is only $11.49 a quart. And your choice of Fast Orange hand cleaner with pumice or Scrubs premium cleaning towels just $11.99. Rewards members save an extra buck. Don't miss our lowest prices of the season in-store or online at farmandfleet.com. And shop our new store in Grafton, located at 1771 Wisconsin Avenue.
This is Jeff Wagner on WTMJ.
My producer, Charlie, makes the point. He says that when he's planning to break into people's residences, he rarely rings the doorbell or knocks on the front door first. And there's no question that that's what happened. If you're just tuning in, this is the genesis of what happened last Thursday night in Kansas City. The 16-year-old kid is told by his parents, hey, go pick up your brothers or your brother and sister or whatever, your siblings. And he goes to the wrong address. He goes to 115th Terrace instead of 115th Street, so he's a block away. The story is he goes up, he rings the doorbell, he knocks on the door, he waits for a couple minutes. 84-year-old man comes to the door and shoots him. And the 84-year-old man says, I think he was threatened. I felt threatened. I saw this 6-foot-tall, black man that was outside the door. He says the homeowner's story is he was pulling on the screen door. I don't know. The kid says, no, I didn't touch anything. I was just standing there waiting for somebody to come to the door. I tend to believe that the kid's response in this particular situation. So anyhow, the homeowner has now been charged. 855-616-1620. What do you think? Let's start with John on the north side. John, you're on WTMJ. Good afternoon.
Hey, buddy. Yeah, the guy should be charged because now he was in the house safe. A guy comes to his door. The guy is outside.
Yep.
He don't see a gun or anything, so really he got time to dial 911 if he's afraid, tell him somebody's breaking in his house. And he still got the gun, so he got plenty of time to shoot the guy. That was stupid. That wasn't good.
Well, it's not only good, but I'm with you. I think I'm going to take it that next day. It's criminal. You can't shoot somebody just because they knock on your door or that they ring your doorbell. And right now, you're exactly right. If he opens the door and the guy's got a gun or the guy's got an axe and it looks like he's trying to cave in the door, that's a whole different situation. But this is a 16-year-old unarmed kid.
He don't have to open it. He don't have to open the door at all.
Right.
The guy's behind the door.
Right.
If the guy breaks in, then there it is.
Right.
So That was a bad shot.
No, thanks. I'm with you. See that there's so many different things that the 84-year-old guy could have done. And even if his story is, well, he was trying to pull on the door, you're exactly right, John. He wasn't in the house. So what do? You then take a step, even assuming that's what happened. And I have serious doubts as to whether that's really what happened. I suspect maybe the 84-year-old guy was a little bit, he'd gone to bed, so he's a little bit groggy about those things. But yeah, the kid, even if he was trying to pull on the door, and I don't think I'm okay. I just going through the facts. I wasn't there. It sounds to me it's more likely that he's there to pick up his siblings. He's just waiting for somebody to open the door. I doubt he was trying to force his way in. That doesn't make any sense. But even so, you're right. The homeowner, all he has to do, he's got the gun. All he has to do is take 2 steps back, and if the kid does actually force his way in through the door, well, then you can shoot him when he's coming through the threshold. He never did that. He was always outside. No, I think this is a bad shooting, and you can't just shoot somebody because they ring your doorbell at 10:30 at night, absent more. Let's talk to Barbara in Oak Creek. Barbara, you're on WTMJ. Good afternoon.
I believe the man should be charged. I'm 83. I understand his fears and his worries. However, you don't do that. What the other gentleman said was true. All you do is shut the inside door, call 911, and say you're threatened. Okay?
Right.
But he should be charged. Maybe not to the max. And I'm saying that because of his age, but he has to be charged. What he did was criminal.
Yeah, no, I'm Barbara. Thanks. I'm with you. And now the good news about this is he didn't kill the kid. I mean, that's the kid's in the hospital, but he's going to recover. Actually, his aunt started a GoFundMe page for him, and I think as of yesterday evening, it had raised like $1.8 million in a GoFundMe page for this. But it is clearly an unjustified shooting. And look, I believe, and if you listen to this program on a regular basis, I'm a big advocate of self-defense and things like that. But in this particular circumstance, there was no imminent threat to the man. It's not like it's 3 o'clock in the morning and the kid has walked into the house and you find somebody in your living room at 3 o'clock in the morning. That's not it. It's not like the kid was into the home at all. The homeowner had the gun. There was no reason to shoot. It sounds like to me what happened is he's disturbed from his sleep. He opens the door. He sees some stranger on the threshold, and he panics and he fires a couple times. You cannot do that. You cannot do that absent more, and there doesn't appear to be much more here. Eric in McHenry. Eric, you're on WTMJ. Good afternoon.
Hey, Jeff. Yeah, no, I'm in agreement with the other two. Owning a firearm has accountability along with it, and then he needs to be held accountable for the actions that he took. But like Barb said, I don't know that you need to sentence and convict the guy to jail. You need to convict him of what he did, but that's where judicial leeway comes in. You don't send 84-year-old people to prison for 20 years. This is a case where nothing is going to change the circumstances of what happened. You're right. Nobody died, but, being charged and losing the firearm as a result of that is probably appropriate in this case.
Yeah, no, thanks. That is an interesting situation. I would not be surprised once you take the politics out of this, and the politics are there's some people again who are trying to racialize this, as unfortunately we do so often in this country. And I mean, I can I tell you, is the guy, if it had been a 16-year-old white kid at the doorstep, would he have been as likely to shoot as if it was a 16-year-old black kid? I don't know. I mean, I don't know. I don't think anybody's going to necessarily know about that. But I think, once you kind of take the people are protesting and all this stuff away from this, the most reasonable resolution is something. I think he needs to be charged. Does he need to be charged with a 30-year felony? I don't know. There needs to be some sort of penalty. But I do agree with what you're talking about. What do you gain by putting him in prison for the next 10 or 20 years? Do you deter other people from this behavior? Well, no, I don't know that this is the type of situation that's going to happen very often. Jeff, we have a similar address situation, and it can be quite frustrating, as many times people will often get our addresses mixed up. I can't help but feel that this happened with him as well, and he should know that the young man was simply at the wrong home. Yeah, and if you really do feel threatened, that the kid is still out on the front porch, then you don't open the door. What you do is you call the police and you say, I think I've got this intruder that's out there or whatever. You call 911. You know, even with the stand your ground and the castle doctrine, you cannot be the one that causes the stuff that gives rise to your need to use lethal force. I mean, this is a no-win situation, and it's a terrible thing that ended up happening. But I go back to this basic premise. You can't shoot somebody simply because they ring your doorbell at 10:30 at night. You can choose not to answer the door at 10:30 at night. If they then try to break into your house, that's a whole different story. But just because somebody rings the doorbell doesn't give you the right to shoot them through the door, period. 84, 54, 24, 14. To me, it doesn't matter the age. Back with more in just a minute. This is Jeff Wagner.
More Jeff Wagner right after this.
Hey, I'm John Mercier.
And I'm Sandy Max.
Great news for fans of Wisconsin's afternoon news.
You can now hear every episode of the show across the podcast universe.
That's right. You'll never have to miss a single interview, story, or fun conversation.
You're not giving in to the process.
Yeah, you're done? You're done.
Well, I was hoping somebody would try and slide a little food. There's a little slot here underneath the door, some cold cuts, pretty thin.
Find us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts.
Kessler's is America's largest employee-owned diamond store.
It's the diamond store where the owners think like you do.
As shoppers, we want better prices and more choices.
That's why we give you better prices and more choices.
We don't try to choose for you. We let you choose.
You can choose a diamond from a diamond mine.
A diamond as old as the earth itself.
You can choose a created diamond from a plasma chamber.
A diamond as new and fresh and sparkling as springtime.
And now you can choose a flickering firelight diamond.
Flickering firelight diamonds sparkle with a rich and regal golden glow.
At Kessler's, you choose from 3 different kinds of diamonds.
3 different kinds of diamonds.
Earth diamonds from diamond mines.
Created diamonds from plasma chambers.
And flickering firelight diamonds with a rich, regal golden glow.
We like to have choices, so we give you choices.
Kessler's is the diamond store where the owners think like you do.
Welcome to Kessler's.
Find the Kessler's nearest you at KesslersDiamonds.com.
QC Kinetics patient Diane Richardson saw her brother-in-law have surgery for pain in his elbow.
My brother-in-law, after that surgery, had his arm in a sling for almost 6 months, extensive PT, pain medication, a lot of restrictions of what he could not do.
So when Diane's husband, Greg, had a similar problem, she encouraged a different treatment, regenerative medicine at QC Kinetics. And the experience was like night and day compared to his brother.
After 6 months, nothing. He hasn't felt any pain, and that has been 2 years since he's had treatment.
Plus, no drugs and no downtime.
He was literally out golfing when he wanted to and doing whatever he wanted to. It was probably 9 months before my brother-in-law got back out on the golf course, and my husband was on the golf course the entire time. And he was so elated. He said, Diane, game changer.
Before you have surgery for that joint pain, get a second opinion. Call QC Kinetics for your free consultation.
Call QC Kinetics, 414-285-3474. That's 414-285-3474. 414-285-3474.
What if you could build a 6-figure retirement income with almost half the money saved? You heard that right. Get a discount on your retirement, creating a 6-figure income with 40% less than traditional 401ks and mutual funds. Hi, I'm Mitch Lyons, best-selling author and executive producer of a new Hollywood documentary called The Baby Boomer Dilemma. In this film, economists and Nobel Prize-winning PhDs from Wharton, MIT, and Stanford share a strange concept I call the retirement discount. It gives you more retirement income with the same dollar saved, and your money is never at risk if the market crashes. That's right. If the market crashes 30%, you lose nothing. Even Even people who are on track have shifted money to this new strategy because it increases their retirement income or can allow them to stop working years sooner. So if you are over 50 and want a bigger, better retirement with less money, call to get a free copy of this brand new movie, 1-800-578-3535. This is a $30 value, but when you call today, you get it completely free, plus 2 hours of bonus behind-the-scenes footage. No credit card required. Call right now. 1-800-578-3535. That's 1-800-578-3535. Again, 1-800-578-3535.
This is Jeff Wagner on WTMJ.
So a number of people are texting in saying, why wasn't he arrested? Why wasn't the 84-year-old guy arrested right away? And the answer was he was, and then he was released, and now he's being rearrested. What happens in Missouri is they have a rule that says that you can be held in custody for up to 24 hours while a charging decision is being made. So this happens late at night on a Thursday night. He's taken into custody right away. He's held in custody on Friday while the DA's office starts to investigate this. Now, while I believe he should be charged, at the same time, this is an 84-year-old guy who is not a flight risk. He's not going anywhere, and he's not a danger to the community in that generally accepted sense. I mean, he's got no criminal record. The only reason he's a danger is because of the facts of this particular circumstance. So what happened is on Friday, I think the DA's office wasn't in a position to make a decision as to, was this legitimately self-defense? You know, we want to get their statements. We want to evaluate this. So they had to release him under the law. Then over the weekend, they take a look at this. Now, I understand there's also the political element there. They got protests and stuff. But they take a look at this, and they look at the facts, and they look at the circumstances, and they say, no, we've got a basis for bringing charges. So they reissue charges, yesterday? I mean, they bring the formal complaint, formal charges. There's a warrant out for his arrest. I believe he's been arrested. You know, preliminary bail is set at $200,000, which I suspect will be reduced dramatically because, again, he's not a danger. He's not a flight risk. He's not going anywhere. But for people who are wondering, well, why wasn't he taken into custody in the beginning? That I think is probably what ended up happening. They needed more than that 24 hours in this case to determine whether or not they felt that it was an appropriate case to bring charges. Because they had to evaluate, okay, is there a legitimate self-defense claim here? Is there a legitimate Castle Doctrine claim? Is there a legitimate stand your ground claim? And given the fact that, once again, it's an 84-year-old guy who isn't going to flee anywhere, who has no criminal record, at least that's my understanding, beyond this particular case, I think the DA's office said, okay, we're going to let him go. We're going to take a long look at this. They have now taken a look at it. They believe that there's charges that are appropriate. I think this is one where, you know, they bring these charges. My guess is, like I say, it's probably resolved with something less serious than what was brought, but there will be some consequences. But for people who are wondering, well, why was he released? I think that's it. They just weren't in a position to bring the charges under these circumstances within the first 24 hours, so they had to let him go. We've got a lot of stuff coming up in the next half hour of the program. Right now, though, WTMJ Breaking News time is 1:30 p.m., and from the WTMJ Breaking News Center, it's Mike Spalding.
Thank you, Jeff. The gates at American Family Field are set to open up earlier on Saturdays for Brewers games. The Brewers say that fans can begin entering the stadium about 2 hours prior to first pitch. Gates typically open about 90 minutes beforehand. A hotel development project for Milwaukee's east side getting the go-ahead from the city's Common Council. They approved that plan would bring an 11-story hotel to Farwell near Brady. And everything's back on track at Mitchell International. Along with airports across the country, Southwest Airlines did delay departures for thousands of flights for a short time this morning. The airline says that a firewall by a vendor that's supplied by a vendor online went down early this morning and connections to some operational data was lost. The airline did take to Twitter to apologize for the inconvenience. Time now for some news about your money and the WTMJ Annex Wealth Management Market Update. The Dow right now is up about 17.5 points at 34,004. The NASDAQ down is 6.5 at 12,150. The S&P 500 up 3.5 points at 4155. Get on track with investment and retirement planning. Visit annexwealth.com and click the Get Started button today. Taking a look at your roads in your Johnson & Sons paving time saver traffic. Things are looking good across the system here in southeast Wisconsin. Do have a bit of a slowdown heading southbound on 41. right near the Hale interchange. The right lane blocked right now, so things are backing up just a little bit. Right around Howard, you'll be tapping your brakes to get through that interchange, but everything else looking good and travel right on schedule.
Traffic is sponsored by Evans Transportation Services. Thank heavens for Evans. Rely on one company for accounting, shipping, and tracking. Evans Transportation Services. Family owned for 40 years and continuing to grow. Evans Transportation Services in Brookfield.
Your WTMJ 5-day forecast, mostly sunny today, a high 54. Overnight tonight, clear skies, a low 38. Tomorrow, mostly cloudy, chances showers and storms, a high of 52. Thursday, mostly cloudy skies, rainy, a high 65. Friday, partly cloudy, 57. Saturday, mostly cloudy, chance of a rain-snow mix, a high of 45 degrees. Here in Milwaukee this afternoon, it is 51 degrees. I'm Mike Spalding, citing Unlimited WTMJ News Times 132.
Okay, so you're the assistant program director, right? That's what I saw last time?
That's what they tell me.
Okay, so I mean, now here, we go out in the community. We broadcast from State Fair and stuff. Here, Crusher Fest, June 3rd and the 4th. Crusher Fest is back. Now, that's Saturday and Sunday, so I can't be doing my show there. But if they were there on Friday, maybe, get out to the big talking studio and the mobile studio and broadcast from Crusher Fest.
You know who's a real passion, or had a real passion for Crusher Fest, was our former colleague, Gene Miller.
Oh, well, absolutely. I mean, they've got, let's see, they're going to have a bunch of older wrestlers that are there. Cowboy Bob Orton, he's going to be there signing autographs and stuff. No, it's Crusher Fest is back.
That's awesome.
Do you know who the Crusher is?
I do, but only because we did a series of stories on him when the the statue was being built.
Absolutely.
Yeah, very cool.
Oh, it is, and it's from South Milwaukee and stuff. So he was very, very famous, and I have my brother-in-law is a regular at Crusher Fest. I have never made it, but this might be the year.
It's
June 3rd and 4th.
Beautiful, nice June day. Yeah, make it out.
Absolutely. Head on down to South Milwaukee. Okay, well, yeah, if it had been on a Friday, maybe we could have worked out a remote broadcast. But
we got the trailer down there and everything.
But it just didn't work out that way. But okay, maybe I'll be able to make it. Crusher Fest, June 3rd and 4th. When we come back, it was the party bus. Well, it wasn't the party bus from heaven. I will explain what happened and what the ramifications are. Don't go anywhere.
Don't go anywhere. Jeff Wagner is back right after this.
With inflation on the rise, Wisconsinites are hurting at the gas pump, at the grocery store, and to pay their bills. Now big city lobbyists are pushing for potentially massive property tax hikes, which would put a further burden on your already stretched thin wallet. They are coming after the local property tax levy freeze that has saved taxpayers more than $3.5 billion since 2011. Property taxes are already Wisconsin's most onerous tax, and their proposal would make it worse. Right now, you control your property tax increases by voting in local referenda. The big city lobbyists want to take away your control and allow property taxes to increase automatically without your approval. We must stop this attempt to thaw the property tax freeze. Call your legislator at 800-362-9472 and let them know you appreciate their efforts to protect your hard-earned money. Paid for by the Wisconsin Homeowners Alliance.
Sometimes saying, I've got a guy, isn't convenient when you need a lot of different people for different needs. A roof guy, paint guy, interior remodel guy, J&J Contractors do it all. With top-of-the-line quality craftsmanship that's all custom or semi-custom.
In addition to full interior remodels, J&J Contractors' skilled and certified team members use high-quality materials for all of your exterior needs. Roofing, siding, windows, and gutters. Contact them today to schedule a consultation. Just Google J&J Contractors.
This is Matt Meitner, owner of Sit Means Sit Dog Training. Do you find yourself talking to your dog but feel like she's not listening to you?
Bella, sit!
Are you constantly repeating yourself but she's not following your directions?
Sit! Sit!
Frustrating, isn't it? At Sit Means Sit Dog Training, we want to help you have a happy, confident, and obedient dog, and we also want to make the training process an enjoyable and worthwhile experience. Contact Sit Means Sit today to schedule a free consultation so we can create a customized training program so you are able to have the dog you want and deserve.
Sit Means Sit Dog Training. Sorry, we don't train husbands, wives, or kids.
Jeff Wagner on WTMJ.
All right. If you live around here, you get used to the news reports of, it's a Friday night, 8 people were shot. we get used to this, and sometimes I think we almost become numb to this. Oh, another night, 16-year-old shot, 3 people shot, 4 people shot. And unless it's, unfortunately, unless it's a spectacular sort of shooting, I think some of these don't even end up making the news. Oh, it's just another car chase or whatever. Well, nobody died in it, so, ho-hum. That's one of the motivations behind our semi-regular feature, Tomorrow's Prisoners Today, so we don't get numb to the ongoing crime. But if you live in other communities, you're not necessarily used to that. And if you go to an event, you don't expect that you're necessarily going to find yourself in the middle of a gun battle. And yet that is precisely what happened to a group of people from Green Bay. If you haven't heard this story, of course, over the weekend, country singer Morgan Wallen had 2, I think, largely sold-out concerts at American Family Field, Friday and Saturday night. So Saturday night, there's a group of Morgan Wallen fans who live in the Green Bay area, and they decide, hey, we want to come down, we want to see the show. But, we don't want to drive. We want to be able to have a few beers. We don't want to worry about that. So they hire it's called Lou's Limos. They hire a party bus, right? And it's kind of like a big van. So they hire this van. Hey, drive us down. And, that's, I don't know about you, but I have gone to concerts in that fashion, or I've gone to events, and it's kind of nice. It's like you rent the thing, then you don't have to worry about the hassle. Somebody else is going to do the driving. So, I've done that before. So this group, I think it's about a dozen people, they rent what we'll call the party bus from Lou's Limos. This is Saturday. So they come down, Lou's Limos picks them up in the Green Bay area. They drive down. They get to American Family Field. They see the Morgan Wallen show. Everybody has a good time. And now it's time to come home. So what happens is what we'll call the party bus is getting ready to get on the freeway. It's around 35th and Wisconsin. And there's, 27th Street, with 27th of Wisconsin, you go south, you pick up the freeway. So I'm not sure exactly where they're planning to get on, but they're on 35th in Wisconsin, headed for the interstate around midnight. And according to one of the co-owners, he's driving the bus, and he sees people running, and then he hears gunshots. Okay, this is 35th and Wisconsin. He looks over and sees a passenger in a car next to the bus leaning out the window and pointing a gun, at which point he screams to his passengers, there's a dozen of them, get down. And then he steps on the gas while avoiding people and other vehicle crashes. Meanwhile, the guy who's leaning out the car with the gun starts shooting. The bus driver, who's the owner of one of the co-owners of the company, says it was like a movie. And there's pictures that they have provided. The bus, it was in fact struck by gunfire. A window was damaged. A bullet mark on a seat cushion. One single bullet traveled through the bus. Due to the damage, the bus is unusable because they have to figure out how to replace the windows that are specifically designed for the bus. They say also we've got a problem with the engine, and we're wondering if that was damaged when we had to gun it to try to get away. But he screams, "Get down!" And then you have a number of the passengers who hit the floor. And what they're talking about is they're saying, well, it might have been him screaming that caused us. If we hadn't have hit the floor, this bullet that busted out the glass window and went through the bus, it might have killed somebody. Let's see, the co-owner, if my husband wasn't attentive and telling us to get down, and if our driver didn't handle it professionally, things could have definitely ended differently. They call 911 once the bus comes to a halt. Milwaukee police say bullets also struck a nearby apartment building, but no one was hurt. One of the ladies who's there says, I think the biggest thing for me is going down to a concert, which I thought would be an excellent night and a great day with my friends, not really being aware of my surroundings, and then realize, wow, this happened to us. You never think it would happen to you. The folks who run this bus company, they've said, look, here's the deal. We're not traveling to Milwaukee at night anymore. We're just flat out not coming down. So, you want to come to another concert, find a different bus service. You want to come to a Brewers game that ends at night, find a different bus service. We're not coming down anymore because we don't want our drivers, we don't want our passengers to get into a gun battle on 35th and Wisconsin. Our number is 855-616-1620. That is the Old National Bank talk and text line. Look, if you live around here, we get used to it. You get used to these reports. Nobody likes it. People become outraged, but nobody does anything about it. But if you live outside the immediate area, and I understand the reach of this station, you have a lot of different choices. And whenever you have a story like this, I think more and more people hear it and say, you know what, I don't want anything to do with the Milwaukee area. I don't want anything to do with this because I don't want to come down, have a good time at a concert, and then get in a shootout on Wisconsin Avenue when I'm on the bus getting ready to go back to Green Bay. 855-616-1620, that's the Old National Bank talk and text line. Is crime and incidents like this, is this impacting your decision as to events to go to, where you travel, when you travel, etc.? This bus company says, we're not coming down here at night anymore. Sorry, we're not going to go through this. We're not going to take the risk. All right, my guess is there's a lot of other people that are making that same sort of decision. It's one of the effects of what happens when you have out-of-control crime. 855-616-1620. Are you rethinking decisions because of concerns about crime? We discuss in a moment.
More Jeff Wagner right after this.
Alleviate your pain, rejuvenate your life.
Your pain is likely due to a wear and tear process called osteoarthritis. Now, when you combine that with being a little overweight or not being as active as you'd like to be, you get into a downward pain spiral. At Rejuvenex, we control pain by precisely targeting and treating the areas where your pain lives, like shoulders, hips, elbows, and knees, with our powerful FDA-approved treatments that cushion and lubricate the affected areas to deliver long-lasting pain relief. Now, like maintenance on a car, to maintain your relief, our team of physicians will follow up with you roughly every 6 to 18 months. My name is Richard Salinas, registered nurse with Rejuvenex Arthritis Pain Clinics. Rejuvenex is in-network with most major insurance plans, including Medicare and Medicaid. We can alleviate your pain, and that'll rejuvenate your life. It's pain relief, really.
Rejuvenex. Alleviate your pain, rejuvenate your life.
Go to rejuvenex.com to request your appointment.
AccuNet Mortgage is an equal housing lender. NMLS ID 255368.
This is Chief Differentiation Officer Brian Wickert reminding home shoppers that working with AccuNet is different and better than working with your bank. Most bank pre-approvals state they've only verified the potential home buyer's credit, but not their income or money for down payment. To us, that's just crazy. AccuNet's rock-solid guaranteed pre-approval tells the seller we've checked out all three aspects of your financial health, and that will pay $2,000 if our pre-approval is faulty. Banks don't do that, but they do have a lot of overhead with all their vice presidents and fancy branches. We keep overhead low, which means lower rates and closing costs that are typically $1,000 to $3,000 lower than banks. Most importantly, our loan consultants can show you and your agent how to improve your financing and appraisal contingencies so your offer has the best chance of winning in a multiple offer situation. Hey, don't settle for a flimsy, unimaginative bank pre-approval. Click on the blue button today for your rock-solid guaranteed pre-approval. That's ACCUNET.com.
Goodyear, Dunlop, Kelly, Continental, General, you name it, we got it.
Plus, free flat tire repair, free tire rotations, and more.
So when you're due for tire service, schedule it at richlawns.com.
That's Rich Lawns with 2 N's.
Rich Lawns.
To be the best, you have to beat the best. And in order to beat the best, you have to compete with the best. And I'll tell you what, playing with the best equipment doesn't hurt either, especially when it comes to baseball and softball. We truly believe that. And that's why Burkhardt Sporting Goods stocks the Midwest's largest selection of the finest baseball and softball equipment. More bats, more gloves, and more equipment from all the best names. This is Brian Burkhardt, and when you love baseball and softball like we do,
you can't beat Burkhardt.
If you plan on draining buzzer beaters, the place to start is Burkhardt, where you'll find a great selection of shoes and court gear. But what's going to turn you into the next big thing on the court is practice. And there's no better place to do it than on your own court. Having your own hoop is an absolute must to hone your shot. and we'll help you get there with a great selection of basketball hoops and accessories. This is Brian Burkhart, and I promise you, when you love basketball like we do,
you can't beat Burkhart. You're listening to Jeff Wagner on WTMJ.
855-616-1620, which is the old National Bank talk and text line. Jeff, I was born and raised in Milwaukee. After we got married, lived there for many years. However, back in the late 80s, we moved to the suburbs because of crime, which compared to today's crime was basically nothing. I used to love to go to concerts downtown, Bucks games, and restaurants there. Sadly, we don't do that very often anymore. I can only imagine what a deterrent this will be for others who are coming to Milwaukee from up north to hear of this incident. And that, of course, is the party bus, that's coming back. It's a limo. It's one of those limo buses, and it's 12 people go to the Morgan Wallen concert. They're on 35th in Wisconsin, getting ready to get on the freeway about midnight last night, and they get caught in the middle of a gun battle. One of the windows on the bus gets shot out. Bullets go flying all around. Jeff, absolutely, this affects us, not only on day-to-day activities, and certainly no longer in certain areas, downtown, Brady Street, Capitol Drive, they're out. Jeff, that decision was made for us 2 years ago with all the car thefts and shootings. We don't do Milwaukee. I used to win many free tickets to the State Fair, etc., shows at the Riverside. I just stopped because I end up not using them. Jeff, I do a lot of things differently these days. I don't drive downtown because I don't want break-ins or the car stolen. I usually go anywhere with a group now. I used to do more things that are solo. Jeff, my wife and I decided in 2016 that we would not go near Milwaukee night or day for anything. We used to regularly go to Admirals hockey, Bucks games, Brewers games, and concerts. Not anymore. I do this topic. There needs to be some recognition on the part of the mayor and the county executive and the county board and the Milwaukee Common Council that this is a huge issue. And you've got to get a handle on the crime problem, because stories like this kill businesses, they kill tourism. I always get a text from somebody saying, well, it's your fault because you're talking about it. No, look, trust me, everybody in Green Bay knows what happened. I mean, they had a big news conference. This was prominently featured. Hey, we went to Milwaukee and we got involved in a shootout. I would say it's like the Wild Wild West, like one of those Western movies, except they were using real bullets. And everybody goes, oh, my God, you take a party bus down there, you're being responsible. Somebody else is driving, and you get involved in a shootout at midnight on 35th and Wisconsin. Let's start with Lucy on the west side. Lucy, you're on WTMJ.
Hi there. I think I get to talk about this partly because I live 8 blocks southwest of Marquette High School in the Merrill Park area on the other side of 35th Street. Your question was, how has this affected people's behavior? I still live here. I'm not leaving yet. I've been here 45 years. But my behavior's changed. I won't walk around not as far as I would with even with the dog with me after certain hours, especially as I get closer to 35th Street. We've had certainly problems within the neighborhood. I still feel okay to walk the dog up and down Park Hill. But I want to say a little bit about the crime and one impact that this is having on our neighborhood too. It's not that the statistics on crime, it was actually worse in the 90s, and I remember it because I was here then too. But it was the bad guys shooting each other in drug houses. Now, what's happened is everybody and his brother and sister-in-law has gone out and gotten a gun for, quote, protection. So that the slightest little tiff turn into shootouts on the street. What used to be an argument is now a shooting, and I'm not sure anybody can reverse it as long as the human reaction is, oh, they're shooting everybody. I think I'll go get me a gun too. Second, and another way that this has impacted our neighborhood, there's a person who wants to set up a tavern at 35th and 35th and St. Paul 30 years ago, and I was here 30 years ago, I would have welcomed that. Fine, bring on a nice little neighborhood tavern. What's that going to hurt? Now the whole neighborhood, not the whole neighborhood, but most of the whole neighborhood is up in arms, and this is going to be coming before the Common Council soon, so you may read about it. We're up in arms that we don't want an alcohol establishment located at 35th and St. Paul because of what we know it will bring. You bring in alcohol in a bar, you're going to bring the people with their guns and their fights.
That's really too bad.
And I don't like that.
Yeah, I
hate that.
Yeah, I understand what you're saying, but it's really too bad. You got a guy or a person who wants to run a responsible tavern and thinks, okay, this would be a great neighborhood place. And I understand the perspective of neighbors too. It's like, well, you're not going to be able to control this, and it'll be nothing but trouble in the parking lots, and you won't be able to control it. I understand what you're saying. It's just very unfortunate.
Yeah, and I'm going to be one of the people speaking against it. And that would not have been my attitude 30 years ago, even 20 years ago. But boy, it is now.
Yeah, no, Lucy, thanks for the call. And if that's how somebody who lives within 8 blocks of the area feels about this, I'm trying to imagine. Okay, you're up in Green Bay, and our signal goes to Green Bay. We have lots of listeners in the Fox Valley who hear these stories about Milwaukee, and I understand some people would like to pass this off as though it's a media creation. No, it's not. You've got. The homicides numbers are the homicides. The car theft numbers are the car theft numbers. You have, as somebody who grew up in this area, the truth is my driving habits have changed. There are streets that I used to regularly take to go, say, from the east side out to Wauwatosa or out to Brookfield or whatever. I wouldn't dream of doing that now. It's just because you just never know what's going to happen because there's just so many problems that are out there. But this particular story, I'm just trying to figure on people in Green Bay who already have some reservations about what's going on in Milwaukee. Say, wait, you went down to the concert. How was the concert? Oh, the concert was great, but we were involved in a shootout. What do you mean you were involved in a shootout? Yeah, these 2 cars, they get into an argument. It's midnight. People pull out guns. There's bullets flying all over. I think people hear that and they say, okay, well, we'll wait till the HBO special comes out to see him. Neil on the West Side. Neil, you're on WTMJ. Good afternoon.
Hello, how's it going?
Good. What do you think about all this?
I was telling your screener, I think, the incident is terrible. It's very unfortunate. And I think that, people have to use good judgment. Going around wielding weapons is ridiculous. And I think that you'll have just about everybody agree that the incident's terrible. I was calling like I told your screener, to pour some sunshine on the neighborhood aspect. My wife and I and our kids live very close to there, in the opposite direction of the previous caller, like around 44th and Juneau area, the Martin Drive neighborhood.
Mm-hmm.
We've had nothing but a fantastic experience there. But I feel like, in listening to everyone else talk, I feel like the reason is, we have a really strong neighborhood association. I think Merrill Park does too. Everybody kind of, knows each other, sees other people walking. We've got a lot of young families moving in. It's a diverse neighborhood where people of different races live right next door to each other. We've had a great experience there, and it's relatively quiet. We rented there too before we bought our house. We had a place on Martin itself, and there's some little crime, and once in a while there is you hear about a shooting or something, like I hear about this, and it does make you. It doesn't make me worried because I guess I'm not out on Wisconsin Avenue at midnight.
Yeah.
But it's I don't know. I think that sometimes too, people that are doing that stuff they're not from our neighborhood. They're coming from other areas of town, defending on it. And
Neil, and I appreciate it. And by the way, I appreciate if your neighborhood is, if you feel safe and comfortable there, and that's great. And I think you're right. One of the keys to that is a strong neighborhood association, everybody looking out for everybody else. Unfortunately, that's not the case all over. And you just look at the homicide numbers, you look at the car theft numbers, and certainly, I mean, there are. I appreciate it. There's some zip codes that are a lot worse than others, and I don't know that it's fair to say that crime is concentrated in certain areas, but crime is definitely worse in some areas than others, which is always one of the reasons why I've been an advocate for taking saturation police and patrols and just sending the cops into some of these high crime areas with instructions that, hey, we're going to start aggressively enforcing the laws. And I understand some people are uncomfortable with that, but I think that's kind of the key. And I guess the bigger point, though, is stories like this have the potential to kill areas and kill events. Because, I mean, this goes beyond just like one limo service that says we're not coming down to Milwaukee at night anymore. My guess is there's a lot of people that hear this story that say, boy, I'd really like to go to that concert, but, I don't want to get caught in a gun battle on 35th in Wisconsin. And I mean, if I could say this is this isolated event and shootings like this never happen, that would be one thing. But I don't think any of us can say that. So this is the party bus from somewhere short of heaven. All right, we got a lot of stuff coming up in the 2 o'clock hour of the program, including an end to the mask mandates, Pepsi or Coke, and lots more. Don't go anywhere. We pick it up right after the top of the hour news. This is Jeff Wagner, WTMJ.
Don't go anywhere. Jeff Wagner is back right after this. Analyzing the best of the diamond from every degree. Brewers 360. Your comprehensive look at all things Brewers, on and off the field.
Swing and a drive to right and deep. Get up!
Hear from Brewers reporters, announcers, and members of the front office every morning on Wisconsin's Morning News at 7:45. It's Brewers 360, presented by Holiday Automotive and Outdoor Living Unlimited. Get the help you need Saturday morning with How To Radio. At 7, it's the WTMJ Fix-It Show with David Nason, featuring this week's guests, Accurate Basement Repair and Outdoor Living Unlimited. At 9, plan your dream vacation with the Fox World Travel Show. And at 10, get financial guidance during Money Talk. Contact Annex Wealth Management for an unbiased review of your investments at annexwealth.com. How To Radio, Saturday mornings on WTMJ.
The Laugh Out Loud Tony Award-winning play, God of Carnage, comes to Milwaukee Rep this spring. This explosive comedy is all fun and games until the grown-ups get hurt. When two sets of parents politely meet to settle a schoolyard spat between their sons, the gloves come off as neighborly decorum disintegrates into no-holds-barred mayhem. An entertaining look at what happens when the little things push us over the edge. God of Carnage, playing April 18th through May 14th. For tickets, visit MilwaukeeRep.com.
Double pane prices for triple pane protection right now. Installed only by craftsmen that meet the Semper Fi standard from your local veteran-owned and operated exterior remodeling company.
We keep you safe, warm, and dry. Semper Fi.
SemperFiRoofing.com.
Advent founder Dr. Madan Kandula on Advent's one-stop-shop office-based procedures approach to solving breathing triangle problems.
A lot of folks are like, I don't want to go to surgery. Isn't there something else we can do? And at Advent, there is something else we can do. We have a whole host of office-based options where you don't have to go to surgery. We could do it under local anesthesia, get these things taken care of. How does that sound? And don't be surprised when you hear that a lot of people go for those options. When given the choice between surgery and office procedures, almost everybody that we talk to and give them the choice, they choose the office. That's not surprising. That's just understanding your patients and offering them the options that they would choose. So I think at Advent, when you put all that together, we are a one-stop shop for these issues.
Schedule your appointment at adventknows.com today, because Advent knows when you breathe well, you live better.
Breathe well with simple solutions. AdventKnows.com.
When big national banks make a decision, it requires many emails, phone calls, and plenty of video conferences from around the globe. When we make a banking decision, we do it over a cup of coffee in our office. Finding a local bank that's passionate about the community and knows your name is hard to find these days.
Good morning, Diane. Welcome back.
The search is over.
Waterstone Bank, proud to be your local bank for over 100 years. Love your bank as much as we love this community. Waterstone Bank, Waukesha, Milwaukee, and Washington County.
Member FDIC.
Vince Vitrano here for Johnson & Sons Paving. Driveway, walkway, parking lot, repairs or complete repaving. This is the quality, family-owned local company you can trust. Johnson & Sons does everything in-house, from designing your project to mixing their own asphalt. They're so proud of the work they do, they put their family name on the company. You'll find plenty of Johnsons. You won't find subcontractors. When you hire Johnson & Sons, you get them every step of the way. It's one-stop shop for projects of any size. JohnsonandSonsPaving.com.
The place you want to go, Lynch McWanago.
Nobody sells for less than Lynch.
WTMJ, W277CV, and WKTI HD2 Milwaukee from the Annex Wealth Management Studios. This is News Radio WTMJ, a Good Karma brand station. Your locally owned hometown station gives you the news and what it means to you. Wisconsin's radio station, News Radio 620, WTMJ, Milwaukee.
At 2:02, it is 51 degrees, mostly sunny today, a high of 54. From the WTMJ Breaking News Center, I'm Mike Spalding. We're learning more details about a Marquette University student who passed away overnight.
Cameron Ray, a 19-year-old first-year student, was found unresponsive in his dorm Monday evening. First responders were called to Cobean Hall, but life-saving measures were not successful. The school called Ray an attentive, thoughtful, and interactive student. The medical examiner's office says Ray was diabetic and multiple bags of insulin were found in the student's room. A medical device used to inject insulin was also found, but it was empty and didn't include a syringe. Eric Bilstead, WTMJ News.
After a 24-hour delay, the Dominion Voting Systems lawsuit against Fox News is getting underway in a courtroom in Delaware today. Dominion alleging defamation by the news network, saying it deliberately amplified false claims that its voting machines were rigged to add votes to President Biden's tally in the 2020 presidential contest. This despite internal communications between Fox employees acknowledging that those claims were baseless. ABC's Faith Abubates at the courthouse.
We expect to see some of Fox's top hosts on the witness stand throughout this trial. We don't know exactly when, but Sean Hannity, Tucker Carlson, Maria Bartiromo, some of the top executives at Fox are also expected to take the witness stand, including Rupert Murdoch himself. Now, as for the opening statements, we expect Dominion to go first and lay out its case, and then Fox will follow shortly after that.
That trial is expected to last several days. President Biden's taking executive action today aimed at lowering child and in-home care costs for those within the reach of his order.
The president is ordering agencies to expand child care offerings for federal workers. He's also having the agencies look at whether they can require federal grant recipients to offer child care for their workers. Mr. Biden's order would have Head Start and Medicaid raising pay for child and in-home care providers. He argues Republican proposals would take the country in the opposite direction.
It would mean higher costs for child care, higher costs for preschool.
Mr. Biden's sweeping child care proposals stalled when Democrats controlled both houses of Congress. Stephen Portnoy, CBS News, the White House.
Good news for Brewers fans hoping to get a little extra time to scope out American Family Field. The Brewers announcing that the ballpark will open up earlier on Saturdays moving forward. Brewers say fans can begin entering the stadium 2 hours ahead of first pitch. Gates typically open about 90 minutes beforehand. The change is only for Saturday home games. The team says it'll give fans more time to get inside during major promotional giveaway dates. Sports traffic weather next. Citing Unlimited WTMJ News Times 2:04.
A big storm brewing? Don't miss it. It's Thursday Thunder this April at Potawatomi Casino Hotel. You could win a share of $400,000 in cash and prizes. Just play with your club card April 1st through the 27th, and you could be one of 50 winners each Thursday. Showers might bring flowers, but thunder brings the boom. Only at Potawatomi. More info at paysbig.com/thunder. Must be 21 years old and a club member to play.
Outdoor Living Unlimited turns yards into patios and decks, fire pits, pavers, retaining walls, even screen rooms and outdoor kitchens. Come see it all at the unique Outside In Gerke's Corners showroom they share with Siding Unlimited. The best area installer of siding, of course, but also windows, doors, roofing, and decks. Their combo open house is this Saturday from 9 to 1. Meet the product reps and the Siding Unlimited and Outdoor Living Unlimited teams. Check out sidingunlimited.com and outdoorlivingunlimited.com. Open house this Saturday from 9 to 1.
Champagne's not as cheap as ginger ale, and you can't buy caviar for the same price as candy. But now, you can buy Beautyrest Hybrid and the highest-end Tempur-Pedic mattresses for nowhere near highest-end prices. Hassellus Mattress is clearing out a handful of premium floor models, like the Beautyrest Queen Haven Bay. Was on sale for $1178, now just $471. Only a few remain, and they will sell out. Find a self-service, employee-free showroom near you at hassellus.com.
Find great deals at the Truckload Savings Event this Friday through Sunday at Fleet Farm. Save on Miracle Grow garden soil. Get 4 bags for $11. Pick up a 40-pound bag of black oil sunflower seed for $21.49. Buy one, get one half off Country Classics canning jars. And 40-pound bags of Sprout Mixed Bits cat food, just $23.99. Don't miss out. In store or online this Friday through Sunday. The Truckload Savings Event at Fleet Farm.
Time for a WTMJ sports update.
According to Bucks head coach Mike Budenholzer, the MRI on Giannis' back contusion came back clean. Still unclear if Giannis will take the floor tomorrow night in Game 2 of the best-of-7 playoff series against the Heat, a game you can hear on WTMJ with coverage beginning at 7:30. Brewers' trip out west continues tonight with Game 2 of a 3-game series against the Mariners. Milwaukee 12-5 on the season after last night's 7-3 win. Coverage gets underway at 8:05 on WTMJ. Greg Matzik, WTMJ Sports.
Taking a look at your roads with your Johnson & Sons paving time saver traffic. Things are looking good out there basically across the system. Bit of a slowdown southbound on 4145 right north of the Hale interchange. We have a disabled semi off on the far right shoulder, so things are slowing down as they get by that site, but things are looking pretty good altogether.
Traffic is sponsored by Kowal Investment Group, the retirement specialists. Retire well with Kowal.
When was the last time you had a second opinion on your retirement plan? If you have $750,000 or more, schedule your retirement review with one of our fiduciary advisors at thekowalway.com.
Your WTMJ 5-day forecast, mostly sunny this afternoon, a high today 54 degrees. Overnight tonight, mostly clear skies, a low 38. Tomorrow, cloudy, chance of a shower and storm, a high of 52. Thursday, chance of a shower, thunderstorm as well. 65 degrees will be your high. Friday, mostly cloudy skies, a high 57. Saturday, cloudy, chance of a rain-snow mix, a high of 45 degrees. In Madison, it is 50 degrees. In Green Bay, it's 52. Waukesha, 50. Here in Milwaukee, it's 51 degrees. I'm Mike Spalding, Citing Unlimited, WTMJ News Times, 2:08.
Live from the Annex Wealth Management Studios at the Avenue, it's the Jeff Wagner Show. Now, here's WTMJ's Jeff Wagner.
Good afternoon, Wisconsin. Welcome back to the show. I don't know if it's a blessing or a curse. I have one of whatever you can say about me, good or bad. There's no question that I have always been either blessed or cursed with the gift of self-awareness. That is, I understand who I am, and I understand, what my strengths are, and I understand what my weaknesses are. So, I am painfully aware of that. There's lots of people who are just kind of, they go through life oblivious to, their limitations and things like that. Or they don't recognize, that this has happened, and they think, this is no big deal or whatever. Somebody who is obviously not been either blessed or cursed with the gift of self-awareness is George Santos. Right? George Santos is the freshman Republican congressman from New York who, this is the guy that has made national attention. He's probably more well-known than any first-term congressman, certainly in this Congress, maybe forever, but it's not for the right reasons. It's one of these classic examples of people who say there's no such thing as bad publicity. Well, those folks have never had bad publicity. George Santos is the guy whose life has been a complete and total fraud, at least as far as the claims that he made. To get himself elected. He said he did this, he said he did that, and it turns out to be all BS. It's just pretty much all made up. And the more you get into the George Santos story, the more you find that the guy is just a major league fraudster. And it's entirely possible that he's going to end up getting charged with various crimes that he's committed over the course of scams he's pulled over the course of the last decade or so. But he somehow got himself elected to Congress. And can you imagine being the guy that lost to George Santos, how that has to feel? So anyhow, he's elected. You can't, unlike in Wisconsin where you can do recalls, you can't recall federal officials. So he is in Congress, essentially, unless he is indicted and convicted. And then, then he could perhaps They could start impeachment proceedings against him, but effectively that would take a long, long time. And he's not going anywhere. Partly, my guess is because he's probably never legitimately made whatever it is that they pay congressmen, $150,000 or whatever that is. So he's hanging on to that job, if nothing else, for the dough that he's making, and maybe because it gives him a chance to scam other people. So anyhow, but this is George Santos. And if there was ever a guy that screamed like one-term congressman, because now that everybody knows what a fraud he is, you would think that there's no way he would get reelected. In addition to that, there is this element. Every once in a while you run into people who have absolutely no shame, just absolutely no shame. There was a story I was looking at yesterday or a couple days ago about shoplifters, and we're going to do that as a bigger topic at some point in time tomorrow, Thursday, Friday, sometime. But the people who are like the chronic shoplifters, there's no secret as to who they are. Authorities know who they are. The stores know who they are. There's pictures of these people, and they just have no shame. They keep going back, and they keep stealing and stealing and stealing, and there's no shame at all. George Santos would be a great shoplifter because he has no shame at all. And he announced yesterday that he is running for re-election. In his statement for re-election, he didn't address all the controversies, namely the guy is an epic fraud. He instead, the story I'm looking at, says he depicted himself as a political outsider who would not get drawn into traditional Republican Party politics. Quote, "We need a fighter who knows the district and can serve the people fearlessly and independent of local or national party influence. Good isn't good enough, and I'm not shy about doing what it takes to get the job done." You know, you might also say, I'm not shy about claiming to be whatever I think I have to claim to put myself in a position to get elected. I mean, if George Santos were to run for re-election today, what do you think? He gets maybe 10, maybe 15% of the vote, maybe, and that's kind of like the kook fringe that's out there. But George Santos, if you thought he was going to go away quietly, if you thought he should go away quietly, no way. He says he's running for re-election. Okay, I came back. I was on a plane 2 weeks ago tomorrow, and there is, of course, no mask mandate anymore. You don't have to wear a mask on the airplane. And I'm trying to think, going through the airport in Southwest Florida, I think I saw, well, I could definitely count the number of people who were wearing masks on one hand. Definitely that. On the plane that we were on, full plane, they're always full planes, I did not see one person who was wearing a mask. Because, I mean, they're not required, and people are making those choices. I bring this up because a number of hospitals and medical facilities in southeast Wisconsin have just decided to end their mask mandate. When we got back like late Wednesday night, early Thursday morning 2 weeks ago, and I had an appointment, a lab appointment that Friday morning just to go get a blood test. And so I went in, and I'd forgotten because I go to Freighter, and they had a mask requirement. And so it was like, oh gosh, I had to actually consciously think, you know, I know we've got some masks around here. And I guess my attitude was, I thought, it was sort of silly. I just got off an airplane where, you know, nobody's wearing masks and stuff, and to go in to get some blood drawn, I got to put on a mask. But that's okay. If that's their rules, I'll follow them. And so I put on the mask, and, you know, we went through this. But now what's happened is all these hospitals are dropping their mask requirements. Aurora Healthcare said masks in their facilities became optional on Monday. Freighter Hospital and Ascension began offering mask optional sometime last week, starting April 10th for Freighter and the Medical College of Wisconsin's Health Network, Ascension essentially doing the same thing, Aurora doing the same thing, Pro Healthcare loosened its mask requirements, et cetera. So basically, I don't want to go as far as to say at all health facilities, but at most health facilities, it's now become, under most circumstances, masks optional. Now, they say if you've got a respiratory illness or something like that, they ask you to mask up. But otherwise, it has now become optional. Our number is 855-616-1620, which is the Old National Bank talk and text line. Right? I am curious as to your reaction to this because, again, when I am out and about, I'm not saying I never see anybody wearing masks, but the number of people I see wearing masks, it is a very, very small percentage. Probably, in most settings, certainly less than 5%, maybe a lot less than that. I don't think there was anybody on the plane, like I say, 2 weeks ago that were wearing it. So at this point in time, the medical facilities have now, I think, caught up with the reality that people are past masking and people aren't wearing masks. My question is this too soon? Should medical facilities rethink this and say, you know what, because it doesn't matter if it's an airplane, okay, it doesn't matter if it's a grocery store, it doesn't matter if it's a baseball game. In those settings, it's fine to not wear masks, but we're medical facilities, and maybe we should make people wear masks all the time. 855-616-1620. Is this decision too soon? We discuss in just a moment.
Don't go anywhere. Jeff Wagner is back right after this. New rules, same old Bob Euchre.
Time call now. Here's a penalty. Offside.
All season long, right here on the home of the Brewers, WTMJ.
Hey, this is WTMJ's Jeff Wagner for the Freighter and the Medical College of Wisconsin's Health Network. We all know that seeing your doctor when you're not feeling well or for regular checkups is important. But what about care specifically for your heart? Dr. Laura Beecher from the Freighter and the MCW Health Network discusses risk factors for heart disease and when you might want to consider seeing a heart doctor. That's during our latest Everyday Health discussion. Listen to that conversation and all our previous Everyday Health discussions simply by visiting the features drop-down menu at WTMJ.com.
Headlines, texts, emails, the TV, the computer, the phone, even your smartwatch. Seems like it never ends. Market volatility can lead to anxiety and planning paralysis. No surprise Americans report being stressed about their investment and retirement plans. Turn down the media roar. Dial up the planning. Put Annex Wealth Management on your side for investment and retirement guidance that includes tax and estate planning. Head to AnnexWealth.com. Click the Get Started button. Know the difference with a fee-only fiduciary. That's Annex Wealth Management.
Visit family-owned Ken Michaels Furniture and our in-store design centers where you'll still find beautiful, luxurious, heirloom-quality American-made furniture. Right now, save 30 to 35% store-wide and take advantage of our complimentary design services. Whether you're moving, renovating, or updating, our designers will help your vision become a reality. Visit Ken Michaels Furniture in Brookfield on Capitol Drive and in Greenfield on Highway 100 to save 30 to 35% store-wide today. Stop into Ken Michaels Furniture for our sale on Bradington Young, made in the foothills of the Great Smoky Mountains. Bradington Young is an American icon in quality leather upholstery. Whether you're looking for power recliners or stationary seating, BY's Furniture is made with enduring quality, outstanding comfort, and timeless styling. Save 35% now on Bradington Young upholstery at Ken Michaels Furniture in Brookfield and Greenfield. Visit us today.
Back for more. Here's WTMJ's Jeff Wagner.
One of the final holdouts for mandatory masking has been healthcare facilities and hospitals, and as one of the big announcements over the course of the last week or two is almost all, and I'm not prepared to say all, but almost all of the major health providers have relaxed the mask rules, and they've gone to mask optional. Now, there's a couple exceptions, I would assume, if you're in like the chemotherapy unit or things like that. They're asking people who, for example, have respiratory problems, they're asking them to wear masks. But in general, if you're going in to get a blood test or you're going to have a regular office visit or whatever, you are no longer, at least at most of the medical facilities around southeastern Wisconsin, you are no longer going to be required to wear a mask. A number of people are texting in saying, what about the VA? All I can find is the VA has announced that it has relaxed, this is from about a month ago, relaxed the masking requirement at VA medical facilities. Moving forward, the VA will base its masking guidelines on VHA COVID-19 health protection levels, low meaning medium and high, and that essentially means it's going to be based on a particular community, and it will vary from community to community. All right, too soon? too late? Should we? And I can remember when we were having this conversation a year or two ago, there were a number of people who said, okay, we're never going to get out of masks. And moving forward, all hospital facilities, people are going to be required to wear masks. Well, they've moved off that. Are we doing the right thing? Let's start with Patty in Heartland. Patty, you're on WTMJ.
Hi, this is Patty.
Hi, Patty.
No, I think no masks.
Okay, tell me why.
Not too soon. Not too soon at all. I'm still a fresh air component. I think our bodies, as a natural instinct, just need air. I don't like it being restricted.
Yeah.
And I live between here and Arizona, and quite frankly, the hospitals in Arizona relaxed this rule quite a while ago already.
Mm-hmm.
So where masks are optional.
Yeah,
and with the population in Phoenix, if they feel comfortable doing it, I feel comfortable doing it here, no problem.
Yeah, right. No, thanks for the call, Patty. Well, I mean, look, and again, it's going to be a function of a lot of things, and I don't know that this is necessarily a permanent thing. If you have an outbreak of COVID, maybe people will look at redoing this. But the truth of the matter is, you have a large number of people, not everyone, but a large number of people who have been vaccinated. As it gets into more and more into the population, I think our immunity builds up, and you don't have the COVID deaths that we had years ago. So I think this is just a reflection of that. Plus, it's a reflection of the reality is that most people don't want to wear masks. And I mean, I've been making this point for the longest time. It's if you decide you want to wear a mask, I don't look at you funny. I figure, okay, well, the person, either they're not feeling well themselves or they've got concerns about their own, immune system or whatever, and that's okay. I don't have any problem with people wearing masks. But the reality is, with most people in the general population who aren't doing it, most people who are going to the baseball games or going to, the Bucks games, or they're on the airplanes or they're in the large group gatherings, the overwhelming number of people aren't wearing masks. So, if you're coming in for a routine medical procedure, I'm going to go in and see my doctor for my regular checkup. I'm going to go to the lab because I want to find out what my blood numbers are or whatever. To say, okay, well, for this one instance, this one couple minutes, you've got to wear a mask. And if the idea is, well, you've got to do this to protect the medical personnel, well, my guess is, when they leave the work environment, they're going to the bars, they're going to the restaurants, they're going to the ball games, they're going to be out and about. So I think candidly, this is long overdue. Again, if I didn't object to it. I mean, I understood this was my medical provider. They said if you want to come in, you got to wear the mask. That's okay. I wanted to come in. That was fine. I didn't mind doing it, but I always thought, especially now that at least the whole country has largely moved beyond masks, that to have a requirement that say, okay, if you're going to go in to give blood, or to have your blood checked, or again, without a situation where there's a specific need. Now, obviously, if you're going in because you're afraid you've got COVID or something like that, you want to be wearing the mask. But for just the general, hey, I feel healthy, I'm going in for my annual checkup, to say you've got to wear a mask, I always thought that was kind of a futile sort of thing, and to require the employees to all, wear their masks inside the facility when they're dealing with people who aren't necessarily immune compromised or something like that. I always thought that this was kind of an exercise in, well, it was just, you were never going to accomplish what you wanted to accomplish. We've moved beyond masks. At least most of us have moved beyond masks. Whenever I say this, I get a couple texts from angry people who say, don't you understand? We're all going to die, and it's going to be people like you fault for advertising or encouraging people to go out without masks. I'm just saying that it is the world that we live in, and people make these kind of choices, and we're not going to be behind masks for the rest of our lives. If there's a reason for it, that's fine, but COVID is not a reason for it anymore. Even Joe Biden has declared that the national pandemic is over. Back with more in just a minute. This is Jeff Wagner.
More Jeff Wagner right after this.
Swing and a drive to right and deep.
That's great, but this is a different kind of drive. Join WTMJ as we support the Brewers Community Foundation. benefiting the Wisconsin Humane Society on Thursday, April 20th in the parking lot of American Family Field. The Brewers will be accepting supplies and donations to help create a better life for our four-legged friends. It's the Brewers Community Foundation Drive, Thursday, April 20th, starting at 7 a.m.
ESPN Milwaukee's Jen Latta here for St. Kate the Arts Hotel. The next time you got a craving for pizza that you just can't ignore, head to Proof Pizza at St. Kate. Proof specializes in fast, casual, Neapolitan-style pizza, along with a selection of delicious appetizers and salads. Try a classic pizza like pepperoni or margarita, or experiment with more unique creations like the artichoke and chicken or the Genoa. Better yet, try a rotating pizza of the month option. Order from the counter at Proof or directly from the bar at St. Kate. Explore the menu and learn more at proofpizzamke.com.
In this market, you'll find Fisher Investments is different than other money managers.
Different how? Aren't we all just looking for the hottest stocks?
Nope. We use diversified strategies to position our clients' portfolios for their long-term goals.
You don't just provide cookie-cutter portfolios?
No. We tailor our clients' portfolios to their goals and needs.
But you still sell investments that generate high commissions for you, right?
No, we don't sell commission-based products. We're a fiduciary, the highest standard of care for a financial advisor. It means we're obligated to act in our client's best interest.
So when do you make more money? Only when your clients make more money?
Yep, we have one transparent management fee structured so we do better when our clients do better.
Sounds like you really look out for your clients.
We do, because our priority is helping them achieve a comfortable retirement. That might be why most of our clients come from other money managers. Visit FisherInvestments.com to find out why investors like you switch to us. Fisher Investments, clearly different money management.
Investments in securities involve the risk of loss.
Jeff and Roxanne here with Rhino Shield Ceramic Coating. Never paint your house again.
Rhino Shield will keep 100% of the rain and 90% of the heat from penetrating your house.
And it looks just like paint, but will last 5 times longer, and it's guaranteed for 25 years.
And it still comes in any color, as long as it's your wife's favorite.
Get 25% off their 25-year warranty if you book by the 25th. Call 262-900-4055 or visit rhinoshield.com.
Go Rhino Shield!
What if you could build a 6-figure retirement income with almost half the money saved? You heard that right. Get a discount on your retirement, creating a 6-figure income with 40% less than traditional 401ks and mutual funds. Hi, I'm Mitch Lyons, best-selling author and executive producer of a new Hollywood documentary called The Baby Boomer Dilemma. In this film, economists and Nobel Prize-winning PhDs from Wharton, MIT, and Stanford share a strange concept I call the retirement discount. It gives you more retirement income with the same dollar saved, and your money is never at risk if the market crashes. That's right. If the market crashes 30%, you lose nothing. Even people who are on track have shifted money to this new strategy because it increases their retirement income or can allow them to stop working years sooner. So if you are over 50 and want a bigger, better retirement with less money, call to get a free copy of this brand new movie, 1-800-578-3535. This is a $30 value, but when you call today, you get it completely free, plus 2 hours of bonus behind-the-scenes footage. No credit card required. Call right now. 1-800-578-3535. That's 1-800-578-3535. Again, 1-800-578-3535.
Jeff Wagner on WTMJ.
Inflation, the return of the bear, 2023 sectors, and answering all your questions about it. Join Dave Spano from Annex Wealth Management, along with Wisconsin's Afternoon News host John Mercure, for a special webinar, Inflation, Rate Hikes, and Bears. Oh my! It is tomorrow. That would be Wednesday, April 19th at 11 a.m. You can register for this free webinar. Still time to do it at WTMJ.com. Click on the Features tab and visit the Annex Wealth Management webinar page. Like I say, it is tomorrow morning. Hey, here's an interesting story from the world of politics. Tammy Baldwin has announced, of course, that she's going to run for re-election. No surprise there. The big question is, which Republicans are going to emerge to challenge her. One of the names that I really hadn't heard, but one of the names that's out there is Tom Tiffany, who is the congressman from the 7th Congressional District, which is northwest Wisconsin. He hasn't announced that he is running, but what he's done is he's purchased domain rights for a couple websites. ThomasTiffanyForSenate.com and TomTiffanyForSenate.com. So he's buying the rights to those websites in case he decides to get in. Tom Tiffany is a great guy, and if he were to choose to get into the race, I think he would be a very, very formidable candidate. The problem, of course, is for any of these congressmen who make these runs, they've got to give up their seat. That's why some people have said, well, we heard that Mike Gallagher from the Green Bay area is considering running. I would be shocked if he gets in the race. I mean, he's a rising star in the House of Representatives, and you'd have to give up that seat to run for Congress. And you're running, who knows what the state of politics is going to look like a year from now? Who knows what Wisconsin politics is going to look like for a year from now? Whenever you're running against an incumbent, that's always an uphill battle. I would be stunned if Gallagher gets into the race. Tom Tiffany, he'd have to give up his congressional seat as well, but he's apparently at least thinking about it. So that's a name to put in the back of your mind. WTMJ Breaking News time is 2:31 p.m. From the WTMJ Breaking News Center, here's Mike Spalding.
Thank you, Jeff. Marquette University identifying the student that was found unresponsive in their dorm room overnight is 19-year-old Cameron Ray. The medical examiner's report says that his death is believed to be from natural causes. First responders found him unresponsive in the bed near his roommate and pronounced him dead last night. The ME's office says Ray did have a history of diabetes. A hotel development project on Milwaukee's east side now getting the go-ahead from the Milwaukee Common Council. They approved a plan that would bring an 11-story hotel to Farwell near Brady. And gates to American Family Field will be opening up on Saturdays early. The Brewers say that fans can begin entering the stadium 2 hours before first pitch. Gates typically open 90 minutes beforehand. Time now for some news about your money and the WTMJ Annex Wealth Management Market Update. The Dow is down right now 5.5 points at 33,981. The Nasdaq down 21 points at 12,135. The S&P 500 down about 1.5 points at 4152. Get on track with investment and retirement planning. Visit annexwealth.com and click the Get Started button today. Taking a look at your roads and the Johnson & Sons paving, time saver traffic. Things are looking pretty good this afternoon. No major delays, no incidents across the system.
Traffic sponsored by the Wisconsin State Fair.
Score Wisconsin State Fair group sales deals. Only $12 per ticket for an order of 50 or more until April 30th. Check out the groups page at wistatefair.com.
Your WTMJ 5-day forecast, mostly sunny skies today, high 54 degrees. Overnight tonight, mostly clear skies, a low 38. Tomorrow, cloudy, a chance of a shower and storm, a high 52. Thursday, chance of showers and thunderstorms, a high 65. Friday, partly cloudy, 57. Saturday, mostly cloudy, chance of a rain-snow mix, a high of 45 degrees. In Milwaukee this afternoon, it's 52 degrees. I'm Mike Spalding, Citing Unlimited, WTMJ News Time, 2:33.
I'm Jeff Wagner. Coming up next, no Coke, Pepsi. I'll explain. We'll discuss.
Stay tuned. Jeff Wagner returns after this on WTMJ.
At QC Kinetics, we have story after story of patients freed from agonizing pain through amazing regenerative treatments. But this one, well, it's special.
My father, who is 70 years old, had both of his knees worn out. He went to an orthopedic surgeon who said, you need both of your knees operated on. We can book you for next week.
That's Dr. Daniel Zuckerman, medical director for QC Kinetics.
Had him come to QC Kinetics. We treated both of his knees using our protocols with regenerative medicine. Within a few months, he was back to walking. A few months later, he was at the gym exercising 3 times a week. He can keep up with our 3.5-year-old little girl.
No surgery, no complicated rehab or downtime.
It's completely life-changing for him.
You have options too. Before they whisk you away to surgery, slow down. Call QC Kinetics now for your free consultation. Call QC Kinetics, 414-285-3474. That's 414-285-3474. 414-285-3474.
Catch deals on everything you need for your next fishing trip at Fleet Farm. Shop our huge selection of rods, reels, and exclusive lures, and you'll be ready to reel in the big one. And don't miss this great deal going on now. Get a free $15 Fleet Farm gift card when you buy an Ugly Stick GX2 spinning combo. Next time you cast out, get a bite with help from Fleet Farm, your fishing headquarters.
Here's to soaking up surf culture on Wisconsin's fresh coast. Here's to beaches designed for people of all abilities. To sand between your toes and happiness in your heart. Here's to trading skylines for endless Wisconsin shorelines. and to ending each day with smiles all around. Here's to those who Wisconsin. Start your summer getaway at travelwisconsin.com.
Welcome back to Jeff Wagner on WTMJ.
For anybody who is a fan of the Saturday Night Live when it used to be funny, like in the beginning, when you had the original cast like Gilda Radner and John Belushi and Dan Aykroyd and stuff and Bill Murray, there are some skits that continue to be legendary. And one of the skits they have that is legendary is what they call the cheeseburger skit. And it's set in the fictional Olympia restaurant, which is actually a takeoff on the Billy Goat Tavern in Chicago. And there's a bunch of guys, Dan Aykroyd and John Belushi, and they're there and they're flipping burgers and things like that. And all they serve is like cheeseburgers. And so like John Belushi is the guy that's expediting the thing, and people come in and will go, cheeseburger, 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 chip. That's the thing. And kind of the punchline is somebody will come in and say, I want a cheeseburger and I want a Coke, and it'll be cheeseburger with no Coke, Pepsi. That's kind of like one of the punchlines. It sounds funnier when they do that, but it's kind of become part of like American lexicon. No Coke, Pepsi. And actually, interestingly, at the real Billy Goat Tavern in Chicago, they don't serve Pepsi. They only serve Coke. Now, I understand that it's sort of like the old debate about, who's prettier, Ginger or Mary Ann or whatever. But there is this ongoing debate. And for example, there's some people who say, I can't tell the difference between Pepsi and Coke. Nuts to that. I can tell a difference between Pepsi and Coke. I bring this up because they've just announced today or yesterday that Pepsi products, and matter of fact, let me kind of back into this. For years at Miller Park, yes, the old Miller Park, now American Family Field, Pepsi had the concessions. So if you wanted to get a soda at American Family Field, or Miller Park, it was Pepsi products. Hate is a strong word. I do not care for Pepsi products. And I always used to struggle because it would be kind of the game's going on. I really don't want another beer or something like that. I'd like something to drink. I'd like a soda. But, all you could get is like Diet Pepsi or Pepsi. I didn't care for that at all. And about 2 years ago, they changed. And now it's Coke products at American Family Field. And I will tell you, I'm much happier because to me there is a huge, huge difference. I bring this up because they announced earlier this week, yesterday, Pepsi products will continue to be sold at Camp Randall Stadium and the Kohl Center for another 6 years. The University of Wisconsin Athletic Department and Pepsi-Cola of Madison Monday announced a contract renewal through the 2028-2029 season. 5-year deal. Okay, it used to be if you went to either a basketball game at UW or you went to Camp Randall, it was Coke. And then there was a period of 4 or 5 years where they dumped Coke and they had a deal with Dr. Pepper Snapple as their soda provider with Dr. Pepper 7-Up and RC Cola at their concession stands. I am not a fan of RC Cola otherwise. Before that, it was Coca-Cola. But now it's, so in 2018, they did a deal with Pepsi-Cola. Pepsi apparently paid UW $140,000 per year for the rights to sell Pepsi products and provided bottled water for department use. So this new contract will pay UW $200,000 per year in what they call pouring rights starting next season. So for the next 5 years, it's going to be no Coke Pepsi still at the UW games. All right, I understand this is not the most significant issue of the day, but still, I think it's an issue that people feel strongly about. Our number is 855-616-1620. That's the Old National Bank talk and text line. When I go to places, I am a Coke guy. I'm actually a Diet Coke guy, and I taste the huge difference. I think Pepsi or Pepsi, Diet Pepsi, whatever, I think the stuff is way too sweet. And I do find myself, if you go to a place and you say, okay, I want a cheeseburger and I want a Coke, or I want a cheeseburger and a Diet Coke, and the response I get is, well, we don't have Coke, it's Pepsi products. What I end up doing is saying, okay, let me think about what plan B is. Maybe I'll have a coffee. Maybe I'll have tea. Maybe I'll have something else, because I really just don't care for this. And some people view this as just kind of interchangeable. It doesn't matter whether it's Pepsi or Coke. I don't think so. I think Coke is much, much better. And I'm glad they're selling Coke at American Family Field. And I'm sorry that they're not going to be selling it at Camp Randall. 855-616-1620. That's the Old National Bank talk and text line. Let's take on one of the most pressing issues of the day, Coke or Pepsi. And are you disappointed when the restaurant you go to, when the event you go to doesn't have your preferred brand? Or doesn't it make any difference? It all tastes the same. In which case, I think something's wrong with your taste buds. 855-616-1620. We discuss in just a moment.
Stay tuned. Jeff Wagner returns after this on WTMJ.
From big tailgate parties to cozy dinners for two, the freshest ideas start with a stop at Century Foods.
Now through Wednesday, save on 6 to 8 count Mega Rolls Angel Soft Bath Tissue, $6.99. 5 to 8 count box or 20 count mini selected varieties Nestle Drumstick Sundae Cones, $7.49. 5.3 ounce cup yogurt or 7 ounce bottle smoothie selected varieties Dan & Light and Fit Zero Sugar or Too Good Greek yogurt or smoothie, 4 for $5. 20 ounce package selected varieties Butoni family size pasta, $5.99.
Hey, why'd you throw my glass across the room?
I have to keep practicing.
The vase from Aunt Sophie?
I'm warming up in case I get to take them out at American Family Field. Read this.
Win the ultimate baseball fan experience at Century Foods?
You either get to throw out the first pitch, hold the finish line for the famous racing sausages, or be on the field during batting practice. My new TV!
Just doing a little batting practice of my own.
The ultimate baseball fan experience from Century Foods. Return the entry form found in the weekly ad to any Century by July 26th.
I want to talk about annuities and variable life insurance policies. And I'm going to come right out and say that I've never been a fan of either. In fact, in over 30 years, I have rarely recommended annuities to clients. And in that same time, I've never recommended a variable life insurance policy. Now, it's always a matter of opinion, and there are two sides to every story. I just want to make sure that you've heard both sides for both options. So if you're looking at those types of products, give us a call, because it's prudent to hear all sides. At the very least, we can give you the pros and cons and help you make a good decision. I'm Jim Cantrell with Financial Strategies, Inc., a fee-only, comprehensive financial planning firm, and I believe we can show you a wiser way to build your wealth. So go to financialstrategiesinc.com and schedule a no-cost consultation.
Financial strategies, a wiser way to build your wealth.
When you can sleep well, that can have a profound impact on your life. Advent's office space procedures can be life-changing. You just have to decide that it's time for you to finally live better.
I guess one of the biggest sacrifices that I think we made starting Penny Mustard was personal time.
Ben and Arvid from Penny Mustard Furnishings.
Yeah, we just lived, ate, and breathed work all the time for years. Yep. And that's hard, especially when you're in your younger 20s. Yeah. That's when you're supposed to be partying. I do remember, I think I was 31 before I actually stayed out till midnight on New Year's Eve because I didn't have to be at a store the next day. I was 31 years old already. That was like a milestone in my life. That's impressive. And embarrassing. Well, probably.
PennyMustard.com.
It's our lowest prices of the season at Blaine's Farm and Fleet. Right now, shop unbeatable deals on the things you need for spring. Like premium Scotts and Miracle Grow products for a lush lawn and garden. 1 cubic foot bags of Miracle Grow all-purpose garden soil, just $4.99 each. Or Scott's Turf Builder with Halt's Crabgrass Preventer, $20 off after sale and $10 mail-in rebate. Don't miss our lowest prices of the season in-store or online at farmandfleet.com. And shop our new store in Grafton, located at 1771 Wisconsin Avenue.
Jeff Wagner on WTMJ.
It's the real thing. Yeah, the reason I bring this up, it shows how much money is involved in this. Camp Randall Stadium, UW System, has just announced for Wisconsin basketball games in Camp Randall, they have re-upped their contract. You can only get Pepsi products there, and that's going to be the deal for the next 5 years. To show how valuable this stuff is, it's $200,000 a year. $200,000 a year for the rights there. On the flip side, a number of people are pointing this out in texts, Culver's recently flipped from Pepsi to Coke. American Family Field flipped from Pepsi to Coke a year or two ago. I'm a Diet Coke guy. I taste a huge, huge difference, and I'm one of these people that, if I'm at a place and they only have Pepsi products, then I'll go, okay, how about iced tea? How about coffee? How about something else? 855-616-1620. Tony in Northwest Milwaukee. Tony, you're on WTMJ.
Hi, Jeff.
Hi, Tony.
Jeff, I'm a Diet Coke guy like you. Pepsi's too sweet. But, Jeff, I worked at the plant on Brown Deer Road, the Coke plant, for 12 years. And I got to tell you, when we ran Diet Coke, and I could grab one off the line filled at 32 degrees in the summer, Jeff, that was heaven, man.
the ice cold Diet Coke. No, thanks for calling. I get it. I mean, it's and it's funny because when I was younger, like when I was in college and stuff, back before I went to like diet sodas, I used to drink Pepsi and I liked it a lot. But somewhere along the line, I switched over. I started drinking Diet Coke, and one of the things and now if I have a regular soda, it tastes so very, very sweet. The one exception is Sprecher root beer. Sprecher root beer, I will treat myself every once in a while, but just once in a while. Let's talk to Guy in Brookfield. Guy, you're on WTMJ.
Yeah.
Hi, Guy.
It's called a rum and Coke, not rum and Pepsi.
So if somebody walks into a bar and says I want a rum and Pepsi, they're going to look at you strangely, aren't they?
There you go.
No,
there it is.
Thanks for that's kind of actually in some ways that might be the definitive ending, the definitive closure to the Ginger or Marianne concert thing. Is it Pepsi or is it Coke? It's rum and Coke. It's not rum and Pepsi. You don't go in and say rum and RC Cola. There was a restaurant that I used to patronize that had their soda, their cola of choice was RC, and I think it was because the owner of the restaurant had sort of a personal relationship with one of the RC distributors or bottlers or whatever. But it was kind of like, who drinks RC Royal Crown Cola anymore? 855-616-1620. Rakisha in West Bend, you're on WTMJ. Good afternoon.
Hi, Jeff. It's Lucretia.
Lucretia, got it. Hi.
Yeah, hi. And actually, I do prefer Diet Coke over Pepsi. And when they don't have that, because Pepsi is so sweet, my go-to is when they had Diet Coke and lime.
Right.
That's such a great combination. So when they have Pepsi, I switch to the Diet Pepsi and lemonade, and that gives me that same kind of combination of that Diet Coke and lime that they had. Is really a great combination that they don't have anymore.
Yeah, with you're talking about where they put the artificial lime flavoring in the sodas. Okay,
Yes,
so could you tell a difference? If I sat you down, put a blindfold on you, and put two sodas in front of you, poured into glasses, you're confident you could tell the difference between the Diet Coke and the Diet Pepsi, or the Coke and the Pepsi?
Absolutely. Diet Pepsi is way too sweet. I agree with you on that.
Yeah.
Too sweet.
Yeah, thanks for calling. It's funny. I mean, I understand some people might like that taste. It's just I just think there's a definitive difference for that. Jeff, I don't think Culver's is as busy since the switch to Coke. No, if you're going into, I mean, I don't know how busy Culver's is, but I can't imagine. I don't think, I'm not going to go to Culver's and order one of those butter burgers because, they've got Pepsi, not Coke. No problems. Jeff, I promise to keep listening to your show, even though your cola preferences leave much to be desired. All right, see, I understand. It's throwing down the gauntlet when you say this. Jeff, I am totally a Pepsi girl. I feel Coke is much sweeter and syrupy. This show's taste buds are just different. I love the fizz of Pepsi. I do recognize that Coke is usually more popular, but I think it's because more places sell it, so it's what people are comfortable with. I'm glad about this with UW because we have season tickets for many sports there. I did not like it when they had the RC stuff either. Yeah. The other thing is I know people are getting drawn into like the Coke Zero and stuff. I just, that kind of leaves me, that sort of leaves me cold. I mean, I'm kind of a Diet Coke guy all the way. Okay, let's hear from a different perspective. Kurt in Appleton. Kurt, you're on WTMJ.
Hey, well, I'm your guy. I'm kind of the opposite where you are. If I go to a restaurant and my choice is the choice there is Coke, I'm drinking water. And I guess a good example of this, Culver's. I was a previously very reliable customer at Culver's. I went there. In fact, I looked this up because I pay for it with my debit card. I went there 180 times in 2022. When I walked into my local Culver's January 17th and found Coke, that I haven't been back since.
Really? Really?
Yeah. If I get the hankering for a malt or a cement mixer, I might be back in there. But I would go there 3 to 4 times a week, and honestly, I have not been there since the middle of January this year.
And it's because I go
around the country. I seek out a Culver. I went to one in St. George, Utah. But yeah, so
it's because of the Pepsi versus Coke thing. You feel that strongly about it?
Well, I have my routine. I have usually something virtuous, like they have just a really healthy, wonderful cashew chicken salad, and my indulgence would be the Pepsi, and I get the refill before I go. Now that's
okay,
Coke, it's like, no, thank you.
Huh? That's interesting. I mean, it's interesting that people feel that strongly about it because, like I say, when I would go to Brewers games, and they only serve Pepsi products, and as expressed, I'm not a fan of that stuff. I mean, it's not like I wouldn't go to the Brewer. I'm not going to the Brewer. I wouldn't take them. I'm not going to go to I'm not going to that playoff game because they've got Pepsi instead of Coke. I guess I don't feel that strongly about that I wouldn't go or I wouldn't patronize a particular place. And if I like the Culver's double cheeseburgers and the onion rings, the fact that you get Pepsi with it or Coke or vice versa wouldn't stop me. But I mean, obviously it does make a difference. I think the majority of places probably have Coke instead of Pepsi, but maybe that's why the people who are Pepsi adherents are just so passionate about it. Let's talk to let's go to Carrie. Oh, it's me. Let's go to Carrie in West Dallas. Hi, Carrie. You're on WTMJ. Carrie? Okay, let's try Larry in Columbus. Larry, you're on WTMJ. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon. I'm on the other side of the pond with you.
Okay.
I'm totally a Pepsi person. I don't like Coke. If I go to a place that has Coke, I guess I'll have a root beer or something else.
Okay.
Maybe a iced tea or something like that.
Yeah. So we are
like
the flip
Pepsi,
side,
and that's it.
Yeah. No. Thanks. Yep. Larry, we are the flip side because, like I say, if I'm at a place that has Diet Pepsi, I'm looking at alternatives. I'm looking at iced tea or something like that. It's interesting. You mentioned root beer. This is one, if my doctor is listening, you'd be very proud of me because I don't like the caffeine-free Diet Coke. I mean, if I'm going to have the Diet Coke, I want it with the caffeine in it. So what I've started doing is it's the A&W sugar-free root beer. It has nothing in it, And I'm not saying if you put it up to next to a Sprecher root beer and it's kind of root beer in name only, but it's become my drink of choice because it's got no caffeine in it and it tastes sort of like root beer, and so that's kind of become my go-to. It's tougher to find that than some of the other stuff. I found it in the store the other day, and I bought 4 12-packs, and my wife's going, we got enough to last you for a while. I said, well, you don't want to run out. All right, I am out of time. Fun conversation, a little bit of heavy stuff before that, but I wanted to kind of lighten it up as we go into Tuesday afternoon. Don't go anywhere. When we come back, we're going to find out what John McCure has on his mind on Wisconsin's Afternoon News.
More Jeff Wagner right after this.
Brewers fans, it's me, Dom Catronio, host of Brewers Extra